One. Oh, thumbs down in the chat already. Shout out to the people that gave us thumbs up already. Um, Welcome to A2HH Live on a Wednesday. Mike D on this side, Coop on the other side. We got some music to talk about today, man. An action-packed show. How y'all doing? How you doing today, Coop?
I'm doing good.
Good, man. We were just talking offline. I mean, there's a whole lot to get to today, man. Benzino hit Eminem with the cannon. We're gonna get to that.
Lord. Hit him with the cannon.
That what you're doing? No Nick.
Don't make this. Don't make this WWE, Mike. You don't have to. You don't have to big up the record.
Oh no! I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be very, very objective here when we get into that analysis. But I gotta recognize the cannon when the cannon is locked and loaded. That Boldy James. We got Master Ace. Shay Noir put out an EP. We got a lot of quality music to speak on, and also. Mos Def apologizes to Yasin Bey apologizes to Drake, and
they said I got an echo, like the Nas and Swiss record. Okay, it's like an echo.
Let's see.
Echo.
Is Coop's echo fixed now? Because I had to click that. Use the echo cancellation. Let me make sure. Y'all let us know if we good. Benzino cooked him again. Let me pull it up on my side just to make sure. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to kind of test it out. We got King over here with the super chat. It says, before we start, rank the top 5 hip-hop groups. Before we start ranking the top 5 hip-hop groups, man, I'm going to go Public Enemy, Tribe, Wu-Tang, Cass. It's off the top of my head.
Those are 4. Who's your 5?
Who's my 5? Because then you got De La circling around. Then you got...
That came to mind.
Ball and Mob G Deep. Circling around. Mob Deep. UGK 3-6. NWA for the Impact. But if we're talking about totality, catalog, and all those things, I would exempt them from that.
I think their catalog, I think their impact and their innovation is so high, they get so many high marks for that.
Right.
But the reality of the matter is that they made 2 albums, and Ice Cube pretty much ended the group with 1 record. So
it's true. But if they're in the conversation, it's them. If not, give me De La. Out of respect, we're talking about a group that's never broken up. You know, rest in peace to Dave. The longevity, catalog, the innovation for what they were doing. They gave us the skits before anybody. They kind of gave us the remix too. So yeah, I give De La their 5. They earned that.
My first 4 would be your 4. It's Wu-Tang. It's Public Enemy. It's Outkast. It's Tribe. Them first 3 Mobb Deep albums just stay with me so strong, Mike.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, everybody can go, keeps getting better. We can talk about that a little bit too. Web Visibility with the super chat says,
I believe I said that, Mike. I believe as time goes on, this album is going to continue to grow and its status is going to increase.
You know what? It gets better every time I listen to it too, and I'm not gassing it, and I'm not going to sit here and go against the people. I know a lot of people in the previous episode feel like, you know, we were going against what we're about. Our mantra is, let me fix my camera, my view. Our mantra is the fact that according to hip-hop is hip-hop according to the people, and the people were telling us what they thought of it and giving us feedback, and we were giving them pushback. Not trying to give you guys pushback, but I will say, the more I listen to the album, the better I think it is, and I don't think that's a forced thing. But I agree with you. That's my experience.
I'm gonna push back, Mike. I don't think these niggas know what they talking about. The end. Like the end. You don't know what you're talking about. The end.
You don't know. Web Visibility with a super chat says Mobb Deep has 3 classic albums. Mobb Deep with 3 classic albums. Excuse me. Yeah.
Fact.
It's
Facts.
true. It is what
When,
it is, man. And
when,
you know what? I will say this about Mobb Deep too. Mobb Deep's impact and you know what I'm saying, what they changed sonically as far as that hardcore New York sound. Like if you, to me, and this is just my opinion, brother from the South, when people talk about New York rap,
yep.
my mind, the first thing that pops up, Mobb Deep, Prodigy, Raekwon, you know what I'm saying? And that's what New York rap means for a person down
No,
here.
I'm with you, Mike. When I think of New York rap, I think of Raekwon and Prodigy in that
Yeah.
order. And when I think about the sound, I think of Havoc's production and
Yep.
Havoc's production. The impact of Havoc's production in the upper East Coast region is very comparable to what the 3-6 sound is down here in terms of the impact and the
Yeah.
longevity and the legacy of it. And so when people talk about NWA's impact, a lot of that impact was shock. Dudes don't make sound like NWA or make the sounds that Dr. Dre made.
You're
People are
right.
using Havoc's whole, like people are taking Havoc, like I mean, Beat Butcher and Derringer and all the Griselda guys. I mean, that's Havoc shit, Mike.
You're right. You're right. And I think that
Plain and simple.
when you're talking
Not
about NWA
disrespectfully, like in a paying
sonically,
homage type of way.
right. NWA sonically is tricky. I think it's people are gonna think I'm crazy for saying this, but I do think they're kind of like sonically a shoot off of Beastie Boys and obviously Bomb Squad, Public Enemy. Now, where their content, excuse me, is where their impact is the biggest. But even with that being said, you could hear the NWA influence on 3-6. And a lot of people that came after them. You know what I'm saying? Like Memphis hip hop is highly influenced by NWA and what came out of that as well. So, but like you said, that direct New York hardcore sound, that's all Mobb Deep. Do
It
you
is.
think
Period. Point blank.
you think Mobb Deep will have a chance against NWA in a song for song matchup, or do you think Mobb
They
Deep?
would beat.
Do you think they
They
would
would
beat?
beat NWA. What do you
Wow!
mean? What do you
Whoa!
mean? They would beat NWA in a song matchup. It's 20 songs, right?
It's 20 songs,
Oh yeah, yeah.
huh?
NWA in trouble.
Okay,
Cause think about it. I got Shook Ones, Survival of the Fittest, Give Up the Goods, Eye for an Eye, Quiet Storm, It's Mine, Hell on Earth, the song,
I think
Nighttime
that's an
Vultures,
interesting matchup. I think
Still
that's a
Shining, God
uh.
Part 3, the Cool G Rap joint, The Realist, the 8 Ball joint, Where You At?
I might take you up on that one, Coop.
The Core Mega shit, what? Where P comes in, my mouth tastes good in your, my raps taste good in your mouth, like Deer Park. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh, Streets Raised Me. Oh yeah, they beating NWA. Like
I
NWA not
might
winning that.
take that one. I might take you up on that one, Coop. I don't know.
I
And
wouldn't
the
do that if
only
I
reason
wouldn't
why
do
I
that.
would be an underdog in that is because of the limited material. But the material that's limited is so impactful. I might feel comfortable jumping out there on
But
that.
that's what I'm saying, Mike. Like if you play something like Boys in the Hood or like Express Yourself, it's like, nah, nigga, I got shit that's just as classic on the East Coast level. I got Shook Ones and Quiet Storm over here. It's like I like what that stuff means to West Coast hip hop is what that stuff means to East Coast hip hop.
I would
And I hate to be the one.
I would probably position Straight Outta Compton or something maybe to that magnitude up against Shook Ones.
That's cool. It's not enough, Mike. I'm just
Mm.
telling you that the catalog not deep enough to fuck with the mob.
It's about damn time. But the super chat says, "What up, fellas? Love to see y'all pushing the culture forward. Keep going. Sky's the limit." And Benny, my apologies, brother. Great album. Okay, people are coming around. Shout out to you for that. I appreciate that. King 21 with the super chat says, "Eternal 1999 sounds like it was like it influenced Metro." Excuse me. Talking about East 1999 from Bone sounds
I
like
can
it
hear that.
Metro. I can hear that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's a very influential
But
album as well. Mad
but
Max.
Bone and 3-6, hold on, Mike. But Bone and 3-6 had a beef about their sounds and styles being similar.
I'm
So
gonna tell you this as a Bone fan, and I became a 3-6 fan because of Bone. It was a natural transition, but when Bone was on Art of War talking about they never heard 3-6 and this and that, kind of find that hard to believe. I
Those are
know that
bald headed guys, Mike.
we were hearing a whole lot of Memphis stuff here in Atlanta without the radio. Those tapes that were going on in Memphis were traveling. So
How about
maybe
this?
Bone came up with their own style and this and that, but I'm sure they heard these guys before. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Mike, think about this. The Learning by Mobb Deep, that's
Uh
not
huh.
even a top 10 Mob. That's not a top 10 Mobb Deep record. Like, you don't have an NWA song 11 through 20 that's better than The Learning.
I
Not
love
not
Burn.
11 through 20.
I,
Yeah.
I, I might I might push back on that because I think I need to think about it. But Burn is hard, man. The only reason why
That's not a
Burn,
top 10 Mob record.
the only reason why I wouldn't be is because Prodigy's not Prodigy on there.
That's why it's not a top 10 Mob record, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like I
But the
got records
beat
like that on my back end of my 20.
is the beat a top 10 Mob beat.
Beat,
Mm.
I'm not even sure about that either, Mike. It's one of their more infectious beats. Mike, I got Out of Control.
Ha,
You're in trouble.
a good one.
You're in trouble.
Using
That's what I'm saying.
using
That's the stuff. That's the stuff that's on the back end, Mike. I got
using
Drink Away the
Dr.
Pain with
Dre.
Q-Tip. Mike, I got Drink Away the Pain with Q-Tip. I got Right Back at You with Ghost and Ray. Trife Life, Temperatures Rising.
You're using
No,
Dr.
Mike.
Dre against NWA. I see it. Let me put it
Oh
in
yeah,
the chat.
I'm Mike. Definitely using Dr. Dre against NWA. Like at every chance that I get, Mike.
Let me see. Who would win in a song for a song matchup?
Whenever you want to do that, Mike, you let me know. I like that action.
I like that one too. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm echoing a little bit, but
Ooh, Extortion with Method Man. You're in trouble, Mike.
Mad Max with the
I
super
wouldn't
chat
do it.
says, "Enough of the pleasantries, Mike. You know why we here. Clear out for the ISO. Benzino smoked in. Talk about it.
Mad Max,
We're
stop
gonna get to
hyping
it.
Mike up.
We got to build it
I
up.
had to tell. I'm gonna tell y'all. I had to tell Mike to calm down before we even went on the show. He already started hyping it up before we even came on. I was like, "Yo, Mike, I'm like the record's dope. You don't even have to like
I
do
don't.
all this. It speaks
I
for itself."
mean, I don't even know if it's time to pour up a drink on it yet, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Let me get to the other super chats. We got a mob of the super chat says, "Peace, all due respect. Murder music is not a classic." I'm kind of with you on that
Y'all can both stop that. Both
because
of y'all.
1999 was I won't say such a weak hip hop year. I think it was a year where it was like, to me, there was only one Head and Shoulders classic, and that was 2001. And
I'm sorry, Mike. There's too many great songs on Murder Music.
I
Like there's
think
too
Murder
many great
music's
songs on
just too
Murder Music.
long, in my personal
I'm
opinion.
going out. I'm going out with Lil C's. That's probably the best verse of C's career. I'm going out was the shit. Big guns and sharp knives, revolvers. Yeah, it's automatic jam at the right time. Like fights with the brass knuckles. Yeah,
How many of
that shit
those
is
records?
classic now.
How many records on Murder Music are you going to use against NWA though? Damn, Mobb Deep's blowing NWA out in this poll. Yeah, I really
yeah.
want a piece
How
of his
many?
back.
How many records am I using for Murder Music? Well, Mike, I'm using Quiet Storm and It's Mine and The Realest with Cool G Rap. So I'm using 3 for certain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm using those 3 for certain. I'm a big fan of Streets Raise Me. I think that's one of their better album start offs. Like I think that's a better album start off than the Infamous and Hell on Earth. It's better than Animal Instinct and 41st Side, and I love 41st Side.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "PE and the Roots are always tricky for me to rank because they fall between the cracks of technically being a group, but also somewhat viewed as a solo artist." Man, listen, I feel more so about the Roots on that way than I do Public Enemy because Public Enemy is a group. I mean, if it's just Chuck rapping, it's not the same. Like, it's hard to explain. You can hear all those moving pieces in Public Enemy just through Chuck. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying? Like, you're always hearing Flav.
Darren Harris made a valid point. The OG version of Murder Music, like the one that got bootlegged, is better than what got released. Like the
I
original
can believe
version
it.
had Feel My Gap Blow on there. Like Feel My Gap Below was one of Havoc's best beats, and it would have been probably top 5 to 7 record on an album that had like a lot of great records. Like think about it, like the joint with Ray on Murder Music is actually like one of the weaker joints. That's better than like 95% of the East Coast rap that you hear nowadays. That album's a classic.
Maybe I'm rating that album next to their other 2 albums.
You're rating next to their other 2 albums, correct? Because their other 2 albums are like all-time classics.
Yeah.
And that one's just a classic.
Dot with the super chat
says, Quiet Storm. It's got Quiet Storm on there. It's better than most niggas' rap albums, Mike. Quiet Storm was better than like half the rap albums that came out in '99.
Quiet Storm's pretty great.
Like just the record
and the remix.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this shit's better than half the albums that came out in '99. That one song.
I think it might. Man, 2001 changes things, but do you think that Quiet Storm is hip hop song of the year for 1999?
Yes.
I got to think about that.
Yes.
Still DRE is in that.
I don't care. Like I told you,
really?
You're not about the. I'm not sold on Still DRE like y'all is. It's a classic record. Like people try to make it seem like it's Dre's manifesto. It's like it's not. So
he does that. He does that.
That's what I'm saying. He does that. He does that because The Chronic is really Snoop Dogg's album, Mike. That's what I keep trying to tell people.
I think we got to put that in the poll too.
The Chronic is Snoop's album more than it's Dre's. Dre's the producer, Dre's the maestro. But I told you, Mike, like the author of 2 of 10 rap's greatest classics is Snoop. You don't hear me say it's Dre, it's Snoop.
Well, they got Mobb Deep over NWA 82% to 18%, and we have 76 votes here. I want to put this what we just said in the chat. Like, what's the better song of the year for 1999? Still DRE?
Quiet Storm or Still DRE?
Let's see.
I like that. I mean, it's a fight, Mike, but I'm taking Quiet Storm. That was the verse of the year, too, in my opinion.
And we got to be specific. It's going to be the regular Quiet Storm, not the remix?
Yeah, I mean, I know people are more enamored with the remix, but that was just the shock value of Kim catching wreck on a record like that, and the cheap shots being thrown at Foxy on there. But the original version is the superior record, in my opinion, still.
Which one do you want me to put in the poll?
The original. Because that's another thing, too. The quality of the remix, even though Kim took it up a notch, man, Prodigy's 3 verses on the original Quiet Storm. I mean, you're just going to be hard-pressed to find 3 verses like that, Mike, like from anybody.
Dot with the super chat. Oh, go ahead.
Like it's incarcerated Scarfaces and Dead President, and like it ain't hard to tell like level.
It does give you very much incarcerated Scarfaces type of feels. Dot with the super chat says, speaking of Eternal 1999, Mo Murder is a top tier beat. I always thought it was the best beat on that album.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think 1999 is giving it some run for best beat, though.
I love that track, too. Web Visibility with the super chat says, where did you guys have Shook Ones rated as the greatest beats of all time? I think it's top 5, in my opinion.
What, Shook Ones, the beat?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it as high, but it's up there.
Because I got When They Reminisce Over You over it.
Yeah.
I personally have Ice Cream over it, but objectively I can't. I got to think about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's probably top 3 for me. It's up there.
I don't think
top 5. Top 5.
I don't think it's better than Cream. I don't think it's better than Nothing But a G Thing.
I was gonna say
I don't think it's better than They Reminisce Over You.
G Thing's crazy.
I personally like Award Tour better beat wise than Shook Ones, in all honesty.
I'm not mad at that. You know, I'm not going to argue against Tribe.
Yeah, it's up there, but it's not like if it would be in the top 5, it would be 5.
Omar with the super chat says, "Coop, the song on Eminem Murder Music don't have the same impact and standout Prodigy verses as the infamous and Hell on Earth do."
Right, I agree with that. He was a more polished MC, and I don't know if that worked to his advantage because his grittiness and his just graphic tone and gory nature is kind of what made him so excellent. But But also too, it's like I don't want to hear Prodigy, stabbing niggas with ice picks on album number 4 either. You know what I'm saying? like they came up a little bit too, Mike, is what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? They wasn't like the same grimy kids from Queensbridge anymore either. And that's what I mean. That's why I like records like It's Mine and records like the Quiet Storm remix and the joint with 8 Ball. They grew and expanded their sound some, and quite frankly, they were doing it because they felt like they deserved the platinum plaque.
Yeah, and it was
the
time.
records were still dope.
It was time.
Yeah. And they still gave people the shit that they wanted on there. Like the Going Out record with C's, that's not a traditional quote unquote Mobb Deep record, but that's a dope ass record, Mike.
I agree. Listen, we're gonna get to this Eminem record, or excuse me, this Benzino record about Eminem. But I wanted to talk quickly about something that I heard or I saw. Nikki was on Clubhouse talking to Joe Budden. I mean, she's really taking this whole Megan thing really, really far. And it was on wax, off wax. Again, it seems more so that Nikki's more determined about her place currently in the mainstream, and she feels like the industry is sending different female MCs to replace her in her reign, yada yada. My problem is the diss record is just not to the level of somebody who says they're the best female rapper all time. And when you got somebody like Shay Noir putting out the material that she's putting out, and I was listening to Shay Noir's EP, the record with her and Ransom starts off the EP, and I'm sitting here like, if we're going to have a back and forth, this should be the standard. This should be the person that is in the driver's seat for, women in hip hop, or somebody who is rapping to that level. And I would also challenge Nikki, other than sitting here focusing on what the mainstream's doing and who she feels like was sent here to replace her, get your ear to the street and keep your ear to the street and work with some of these individuals and get them up to a level of notoriety so that, you know what I'm saying, that place can be cemented for you and for others if it's about women in hip hop. You know what I mean? And so I was really impressed. I mean, going all the way around the world to that, I was really impressed with Shay. What in the world? Sorry, guys. What were you about to say, Coop?
I think we got an echo again on your side, and we got a little spam in the chat. You get the spam out?
Got spam and echo. Man, there's a lot going on. Do we still have an echo? Let me know, guys. I might need to get my volumes and stuff right. But what were you saying, other than the echo?
So, I mean, one, and we've had this conversation on numerous occasions, and I'm tired of explaining this to people. Nikki's not the greatest female MC of all time. She's not better than Lil' Kim. She's not better than Queen Latifah. She's not better than MC Lyte. None of them rhyme-wise are better than Lauren. I could even give you an argument that Foxy's better than Nikki. And so a lot of this is like what I like to call like the fame that comes with it, because she maybe is bigger than all of those women have been. But if we just go to Kim, she's not more impactful than Kim because, well, quite frankly, the reason that she's here more than anybody else is because of Kim. Rhyme-wise and song-wise, I still found Kim to be better because Kim has put out verse of the year contender type of verses, which we've never gotten from Nikki. She has made classic hip-hop songs and contributed to classic hip-hop songs. She is more groundbreaking. She is more legendary. She is more impactful. She's a better song maker. She's a better hit maker. She's a better bar maker. Like, so all these talks of Nikki being the greatest female MC of all time, they're just false narratives, quite frankly. And, the fact of the matter is that she's just bigger than everybody else. But here's the thing about it. Drake is bigger than anybody else, too. None of us walk around saying that he's the GOAT because of that, Mike. None of us. Nobody really thinks Drake is the GOAT. Nobody. Drake might think it. Drake might be the one person who think it. And I've always told people, can we stop all this Drake talk when Lil Wayne's better than Drake?
Well, see, Drake is humble enough to tell you that J. Cole's the GOAT. he'll do that. I could see him saying that.
Right.
I'm glad you mentioned Lil Kim because
So
the things that she actually was putting out there in this conversation with Joe Budden about the fact that these individuals were here or brought here to take her down a peg. Who's to say you didn't do the same thing to Kim? And you continue and never atoned for that. At no point during her comeuppance did she sit there and say, you know what happened with me and Kim is unfortunate. Even if we don't agree like that, I'm gonna give it up and let her know and everybody know how much of an influence she was on me because it's very clear that she was. And I don't care who you are or you know what I'm saying. If you paid attention to rap and you approached rap in that way, in the way that Nicki did, to say that Kim wasn't an influence on you is dishonest. It's the bottom line.
lies.
It
It's just
is.
lies, Mike.
It
It's
is.
just lies.
And if you're
It's
not
lies.
going to atone for that and give it up for that, you can't really be mad when the industry, wants to replace you with a Cardi B or a Megan Thee Stallion or a Lotto or whatever that you're, what I'm saying is going on. You can't be
I
mad.
mean, Mike, there is a little bit of what goes around comes around going on here because you didn't pay homage. And one thing that I've always loved and I'm always going to love about hip hop is that the people who usually come after usually do an appropriate job about paying homage to those who came before them. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Like our greatest MCs do it. Snoop does it. Nas does it. Jay does it.
Yeah.
Like these guys pay homage to the guys who came before them that didn't ascend to the heights that they ascended to, Mike, with frequency. With
Mm-hmm.
frequency. With frequency, these guys reference the Ice T's, the Cool G Raps, the KRS's, the Rock M's, the Easy E. Like they do.
It's cool to be competitive, but you also got to be respectful, and you also got to pay homage. Because to keep it real, if it wasn't for certain people, it's clear that other people wouldn't exist in that same way. If not for Kim doing what she did in the way that she did it in the time frame she did it in, we don't have a Nicki in that same way. And I'll be real, we wouldn't have a Lotto in the same way. And Lotto's been very vocal about how influential Nicki is to her. And the fact that they don't get along now, that doesn't change any of that. You know what I'm saying? But Nicki going out here on these rants and stuff like, Nick, we hear you, Nicki, and those things in the industry are real. Those things happen, but it's hard to feel sorry for you when you did the same thing to Kim and is still doing the same thing to Kim.
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, she can take all the shots that she wants. I told you it's not fair in hip hop. Her brother and her husband, oh, it's open season on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she needs to be mindful that it's like, let's say, let's just for conjecture purposes, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say Megan's a hoe and an industry hoe. Better to be that than a motherfucking pedophile, Mike. If we just calling spades out
We're
here.
parsing it out. Sparsing it out,
I
right?
mean, if we just calling spades a spade, it's like, a hoe can find Jesus. Once you've been tagged a pedophile, you're always a pedophile, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, Mike, not to get too biblical, a hoe got placed in Jesus' bloodline for being faithful to the Lord.
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, Rahab. So it's
Change
like,
your
oh no.
ways.
Yeah, hoes can change. Once you a pedophile, Mike, that's a stigma that lasts for life. So it's
As it
like the way
should.
that she pulled, as it should. So the way that she's pulling up, like the people around her are above reproach, it does speak to a level of priv, Mike. A little priv going on. There's a
A
little
lack of
priv going on.
accountability. A lack of accountability as well, and
I think that comes with the priv, Mike. That's
yeah.
like in the priv kit. A lack of accountability, a lack of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the priv kit, Mike.
I mean, honestly, I know with Kanye, right? And I know I was paused because I know I can't really be speaking on Kanye too much because I lost the battle. But
I think
even
you,
the way
I
that
think
she
your time's almost up, Mike. I think you can talk about
constantly.
Kanye again. I think it's been like 60 days. I
But
feel like it's been about 60 days.
even the way she's sitting here wouldn't clear her verse for a Kanye record, like, dude, the feature that you had on Monster changed your career. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, like show some level of appreciation. Even if you don't like the verse like that, you recorded it for them, and even if it was years ago or whatever, there's ways to go about that in a better way. You want to record another verse? I'm sure they're cool with you recording another verse. But don't sit here and try to play out the person that gave you the door to run through. You know what I mean? Like that verse was very important to your career, but it's kind of like how what's his name that was managing her initially before she went to Waka's mom, the one that was with Kim and them. It just shows you how Kim is not Kim. Nikki is on some, or it appears that Nikki's on some. Up, thank you. See you later. Move on to the next level. You know what I'm saying? It's like you even doing that to people like Kanye West. That is wild.
Yeah,
Let me get
it's
to the super
wild.
chats real quick. Charles Carter with the super chat says, "Pac All Eyes on Me just reached 3 billion on Spotify streaming. Only album from '96 to do so. Not to mention it's diamond. It's diamond in sales. Legend. Did you hear what Dad said? Speaking of Pac,
I meant to click on the sound mic, but then I just declined to. But go ahead. What Dads have to say this time?
well, this is what Suge said. I'll be listening to the Suge podcast. One of the best podcasts in the game. I ain't even gonna front. I'm just gonna give it up. Give
Suge.
credit where credit's due. And
Suge
Suge
is
was
highly intelligent and wildly entertaining, Mike. He always has been.
he's awesome. Mall 7 with the super chat says Lady of Rage raps better than Nicki too. She does. What I
Yeah.
was gonna say
So does
though, so
Eve.
right. So Suge was like, when Pac got to death row, Snoop and these guys were jealous of Pac because, and he said Dre too. He was like, because they were the ones selling all the records, but Pac, he had fans. Like he was a movie star, you know what I mean? And when it used to be where it's like people wanted to take a picture with Dre, Snoop, or get an autograph from Dre or Snoop, now fans were coming up to them asking them about Pac.
First
And
of
I
all,
can believe that. And so Daz's response was, jealous of Pop. We made Pop. We made All Eyes on Me. It was all hands on deck and this and that. And a lot of people were taking issue with the fact that Daz said that they made Tupac with All Eyes on Me. I think he just misspoke. I'm going to give him that out. I hope he clarifies because
well,
Pac was
well, well,
already a
Mike,
movie star.
actually, Mike, this is one of those things where it's like, well, you can be really right and really wrong all within the same fell swoop of something that you say.
Mhm.
First of all, saying that you made Tupac is the dumbest shit I've ever heard
Yeah, I think he
another
just
producer
misspoke.
or rapper say. Tupac, I believe Strictly for My Niggas was double platinum. I believe Me Against the World went triple or quadruple. So let's not act like the numbers that Snoop and Dre was doing was just in some stratosphere that Pac couldn't reach. That's a lie. He's only like Me Against the World is like only 1 million sales off on Doggy Style. Pac, one of the few dudes that can compete with Snoop sales wise with the Doggy Style thing in that era,
Right.
if not the only one. Because even Ice Cube, Mike, Ice Cube was going platinum, sometimes double. No. Me Against the World like did numbers before he went in.
I
And
remember when he was in, and it would have did even better if he was out. But I remember Dear Mama getting played so much that I was like, man, are they gonna stop playing this record? Shed So Many Tears, it's everywhere.
yeah,
Temptations, that
Temptations was
video
everywhere.
was everywhere, and even
Right.
before that, I Get Around was everywhere.
Right. So Keep Your Head Up, Mike, was getting played. Mike, I can remember Keep Your Head Up was one of the few rap records I heard on MTV with consistency.
MTV always
So
supported pop.
so this whole notion that these guys were bigger than Tupac, Mike, only in their minds, Mike. Only in their minds, for one. Was it all hands on deck for All Eyes on Me? Yes, it was. You want to know why it should have been all hands on me? Because he was rap's biggest star.
Yeah,
The end. When rap's biggest star comes home, you know what it's supposed to be? All hands on deck.
I feel like you
What are we
said this
talking
in a
about?
show before, but Pac going to death row for the people who weren't there to experience it, it was like LeBron going to the Miami Heat. It's like, yeah, these guys are great, but this guy is the guy, you know. And I've always said Snoop was the biggest at the time, but we got to be honest. Doggy Style was '93, and this was '96 now. a lot had happened since then. Snoop didn't have any new material out. He didn't have a follow-up album out. Between 93 and 96, Pocket dropped, what, 3 albums?
Yes.
So, yeah, the tides were
And Above the
different.
Rim soundtrack, Mike.
Yeah, and it's not above thought that a young Snoop Dogg who made Doggy Style in 93 and The Chronic was in 92 is sitting here thinking like, damn, this guy's popping. You know what I mean?
Here's
Not
the
to say that
reality of
his
the
star
matter.
was fading, but he needed new material. And this guy had a lot of new material that Snoop didn't have yet.
He was popping before Snoop, Mike.
Yeah,
He was in
that
Juice.
too.
Brenda's
That part.
Got a Baby.
Yeah.
Mike, he, in my opinion, has 2 of the 3 best songs on the greatest hip hop soundtrack of all time. And he was the star of the movie too, Mike.
He was.
And he had Poetic Justice, Mike.
All due respect
And
to
he had Me
Dwayne
Against the
Martin, but you're
World.
right. All due respect to Dwayne Martin, but yeah, that movie was about pop.
About Birdie, Mike.
It was.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of what, revisionist history, like I said, you can be right and be wrong all in one fell swoop. I don't knock him for it, but saying we made Pac, that's the dumbest shit ever.
I think
It's
that
dumb.
was more so him responding to Suge, because clearly he don't like Suge like that. And I think that he probably got caught in the moment on that. I would like to give Daz a chance to clarify that. But
The only thing that production team did was finally give Pac beats that match the legendary level of his rhymes. That's the difference between All Eyes on Me and the difference in the material. It's not Pac. Pac is the same guy. The rhymes and the stories and the concepts and the heartfelt moments have always been on 10, Mike. It's the beats that got on 10. All they did was match what Pac already had. They didn't make anything.
it could be argued that as a producer, Pac made Daz a notable name in the production world, because now he was finally getting credit for his production. Because the type of individual that Pac was, he wasn't going to sit there and let Dr. Dre take credit for Daz's production.
Yeah. I mean, how about this? It's like, what are people more acquainted with? All Eyes on Me or Dog Food?
Well, self-explanatory. I think our last super chat just covered that. Mad Max with the super chat says, Nicki on Impact is as impactful as Kim, because Nicki just had Kim's look, but she got all these chicks like Megan doing cosplay in certain flows that people like K-Dot steal. You know where I think Megan's flow comes from, and maybe this is just me, but I think Megan's flow it's more Gangsta Boo influence than I think a lot of people speak on.
I can see the Gangsta Boo. I see some Mia X in there too.
I can see that too. Banging Tables with the super chat. I ain't heard Banging Tables yet, man. Shout out to Banging Tables if you're new to the room. Said Kim was actually alley rapping on dope hip hop beats, and they were still hits. Yeah. Zuri with the super chat says she's done that, Mike, multiple times, especially recently.
Hey,
She's
Mike,
giving Kim props. I ain't heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
I ain't heard that. Send me a clip.
Let's not forget, Mike, that at the height of the beef, Tupac started Death Row East. Yeah, he did.
I knew that was coming. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop not even a fan like that, but Kim made a whole tape of shots. Nicki held her grind, had some slick bars, and some responses to Megan was quick, 24-hour bars. But it's not good, guys. I mean, let's just keep it real. Like, if we're talking about a high-level, quote-unquote, rap battle, right? Are y'all expecting better records than these? I hope we are.
Well, here's the reality of the matter. And this is what I'm going to say. Like, first of all, Mike, who has the better record? Let's get back to Megan and Nicki. Who's got the better record?
Benzino. I'm sorry. I'm just going on the best diss record this week, but I'm just saying.
Mike, between Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, I forgot that was even happening. Megan, and I didn't even think that record. I'm gonna reserve my opinion on that, because I don't feel like the Megan record was a full out diss record. Yeah. I didn't even hear the diss bar.
Had some slick bars, Mike.
So okay, explain to me what was actually Explain to me what was actually about Nikki and how,
The
because
Megan's
I
Law. I
missed it.
think the Megan's Law part,
So where
like Roman.
Roman, Megan, so okay.
That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
mean.
I thought the
Like all
Megan's
I'm saying
Law
is that
thing
how
was
about
talking
this? How
about
about
that
this?
lawyer. I mean,
Nikki,
not lawyer.
Nikki felt insulted, and like some of the shots were directed at her, and that's fine if you feel that way. All I'm saying is that there's a rape kit floating around on Twitter with your husband's name on it, and so
Jeez.
you're fair game when you take offense. The end. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, well, Megan made the better record, and there's the rape kit from your husband's charge is floating around on Twitter. It's like I would say less in that situation, but what do I know?
But Nikki out here on Clubhouse talking about how this woman didn't really get shot, saying things like, if you really got shot in the foot, how are you on Instagram twerking days later and things like that. And she said she got shot in the hoof and stuff. You know, and it's like, for somebody that high profile to put out that type of information, somebody's really locked up for this, right? Somebody's really serving 14 years for this. And for somebody like Nikki's status and high level profile, if you will, to be saying that this didn't even happen is wild to me. Like, she's talking like a conspiracy theorist, really,
No,
at this point.
that's like saying, well, slavery didn't happen, Mike, and neither did the Holocaust. It's like, okay, nigga, okay, all right,
Not
sure,
to mention,
whatever.
and again, I'm going to reserve judgment because I wasn't in the courtroom. I don't know all the stuff that happened or whatever, but I did hear the phone call that Tory Lanez made. He sounded like he did it. So even with all of that out there, for Nicki, as high profile as she is in hip hop and just in general as a star, to be saying that this didn't happen, it's like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying?
All I'm
Like,
saying is this,
why?
Mike, it comes down to the music at the end of the day,
Right.
and so what happens when you make a whack ass diss record is that, well, the things and the people around you start coming to light more than the music.
You're right.
And that's why there's a whole kit floating around right now that people are talking about. Because guess what? If Nikki would have crushed her, the kit wouldn't be no
If
discussion.
yeah,
But she
you're right. If
didn't.
the record was
So it
better,
is.
she wouldn't have to be out here on Clubhouse talking for 4 minutes about this woman and these theories that she has, if you will. Dot with the
Right.
super chat says Nas been referencing the OGs for 30 years straight. Yeah, he has, man.
Correct.
He's a
Carry
nostalgic
on
rapper.
tradition.
Peter Stone with the super chat says you guys are wrong and lack context. Okay, what are we wrong about? And we got a Nicki fan in here. Is that what it is? And I would love for the Nicki.
Everybody thinks that I don't like Nikki. It's like it has nothing to do with me not liking Nikki. Actually, to be honest with you, Mike, I used to follow Nikki, like Rap Nikki that was on the Slam DVDs and all that. I used to like that used to be the reason that I would watch was to hear her rap. But I'm also objective and unbiased about it. To say that she's the greatest female MC of all time is absurd. She doesn't have the rap catalog. She doesn't have the rap songs. She doesn't have the rap verses to garner that consideration. What she has is the following. The impact of her following, Mike, is a build off of what Little Kim did.
It is.
That's not conjecture, Mike. That's fact. Go look at Lil Kim from the How Many Licks video, and that is literally Nicki's whole steez.
Cool. We lived it. And again, I'm not trying to sound like no old nigga on that level, but yeah, it's like our parents, right? When we were coming up, and I remember we would hear songs that, well, the 90s was full of samples from the 70s, but I'd be in the car with my dad, and something like Big Papa would come on, and he'd be like, man, they butchered that Isley Brothers song. He was there. You know what I mean? Me as a kid, I'm like, I like this song. What you talking about? I heard both of them. But we experienced the whole Kim thing. We saw how she changed things. And then we saw how Nicki came in on her swag. It's literally the Kobe Jordan thing without paying homage. Like, it is.
And here's the biggest problem with it, Mike. I think people are forgetting how much backlash Lil Kim got, Mike, and how much vitriol came Lil Kim's way that Nicki never had to deal with, Mike.
Kim did that, so hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that. She took all the bullets.
She took all the bullets, Mike.
Shout out to
Like
Kid.
it was a problem. People were blaming Nikki. I mean, people were blaming Kim for like every black woman that dressed like in something scantily clad, like whether it was on TV or not on TV. It's like that's
Right.
Lil' Kim fault. It's like it's Lil' Kim fault that she dressing like a hoe.
Mad Max to the super chat says,
Maybe she's a hoe.
he said Daz is fake right. So was Suge. Let's be for real. Pac, he's in the GOAT conversation only because of All Eyes on Me and his Death Row catalog. Without that Pac be barely top 20 all time. And you could tell Snoop and Dre were jealous. Okay, he agrees with the jealous part. I think that's a very interesting notion I've never heard anybody speak on. But do you think without All Eyes on Me, Tupac's not in the GOAT conversation?
I mean, we'll never know, Mike.
That's a big gap. That's a big gap. He made that album, though.
Here's the reality of the matter. Like, no disrespect to the producers, Mike, but people spit the words on All Eyes on Me way more than we talk about the production on All Eyes on Me.
All the
Tupac
people,
Shakur.
Exactly. All the people on All Eyes on Me, they have produced for other people. I don't want to be redundant to bring up Kobe Bryant again, but I remember when Kobe went out there and got 81. And niggas was like, oh man, they played the Toronto Raptors. Niggas play the Toronto Raptors every fucking night. Don't diminish that. You know what I'm saying? Those guys who produced on who produced on All Eyes on Me, they produced for other people their whole careers. They didn't make All Eyes on Me with them.
No, that's why.
Made it with
that's
Pop.
why I brought up. That's why I brought up Dog Food, Mike. Like, as great as Dog Food is, there's not one beat that Daz made on Dog Food that's fucking with Ambitions as a rider.
No.
So maybe Pac made them. So how about this? You know, you're supposed to bring out the best in each other. Most of those producers that are on that album, Mike, that's the best that they ever sounded as producers. You want to know why? Because they were making beats for Tupac, Mike. It's a little different when you're making beats for Tupac and he's fresh out of prison.
Artists
you might
inspire producers to give him
your
well.
Best.
Yeah.
Hold on. You might feel the need to give him your best because guess what? It ain't just all eyes on him. It's all eyes on you niggas giving him the beat as he walking out of prison too.
I like how you said that. You're right. It's all eyes on you as well.
Yeah, because if y'all would have gave Tupac some whack beats, they'd be like, man, that nigga Pac spitting, but this production shit got to stop. And they knew that the thing that people used to say about Tupac is that it wasn't that Tupac wasn't a great rapper, is that the production sometimes did not match who he was as a rapper. Right. So don't tell me that they didn't know that.
You're right. Web Visibility with a super chat says, dude said that they made Pac, then make another Pac. Hey. Mad Max with a super chat says, Dre was losing control, so he was jealous of that. And Snoop had to share, but All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli put Pac in the GOAT conversation. No Death Row would not hold Pac to a GOAT level because Me Against the World Pac, only classic, not on Death Row. I got you.
I mean, I do feel, but okay, so here's the thing about it, too, that we have to also realize. It's like, I think Pac has 3 classics. Mike, he only made 5 albums while he was alive.
Yeah.
He's 3 for 5.
And he wasn't even 25 yet.
He's 3 for 5 and he wasn't 25, Mike.
Yeah.
The hell are we talking about?
Right.
So when people are like, oh, well, that put him in the GOAT conversation, Mike, had he lived, he was going to be the GOAT.
Imagine if he just lived 5 years more.
Imagine if he just rapped for 5 years more, Mike.
Right.
Because here's the thing about it. How about this, Mike? Mike, he's the best version of him has an MC with his timing and delivery. Maybe not with the song structure, because that's All Eyes on Me and Me Against the World. But as a rapper, quote unquote, like spitting Mike, Machiavelli might be his best Mike performance in totality as a rapper. It's his last Mike performance, Mike.
He was getting better and better. He was getting better and better. And he recorded that album in the same year that he recorded a double album. We got to put that in context, man. And the man, he died in September of 96, made a double album and another album that, like you said, is his best Mike performance in, what was that, in a 7-8 month period?
I mean, so what you're saying, Mike, is he made about 45 quality songs before he died, the year that he died.
Insane. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says Johnny J was Pac gay too on All Eyes on Me too. They say I guess he meant guy. Oh, he said guy. I'm sorry. We don't talk about guy. He said Johnny J
Well,
was
I think what
Pac
he's trying to say is that Johnny J was around before All Eyes on Me.
And Johnny J did a lot of production on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Johnny J stepped his game up too, Mike. And then it goes to the fact that it's like, okay, I mean, and people probably know this story. You know why Dr. Dre left NWA and signed to Death Row, right? When Suge took him in that studio, showed him that board, with all those sounds and all those engineering tools. It's different when you were walking in the Death Row studio than most of those West Coast guys had access to.
Shout out to Suge for that.
Suge deserves credit for that. He gave those guys top of the line production equipment to record with.
Yeah.
It made
and back
it
then,
different.
That means a lot.
Yes, so Johnny J's beat sounded better on All Eyes on Me than they had before because he was in the Death Row studios, Mike.
Right.
Period.
Right. My bad for messing that up, man. I think this ring light is like, fucking up my vision. I might need some glasses.
Put my ring light on the side, Mike. Put it on the side.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, think about how many Kim verses we recite. Now compare that to how many Nicki verses we recite. Not even close. I don't recite any Nicki verses. Now, I'm not trying to be funny or, I'm just saying.
I respect what Nicki's done and what she's brought to the game. And she's all-time great, and she deserves her flowers. She's not the greatest, and she's not Kim. And I'm never pivoting off of that until she proves otherwise. And she hasn't. And that's that.
Matt Max in the super chat says, Coop, I suggest you read her husband's case because pretty much 18-year-old boy deals with a 16-year-old girl because the 16-year-old girl said that she was older and her parents found out and had him charged because he was 18. Well, I'm not going to get into all of that.
Well, do you know how often that happens down here in the state of Georgia? And guess what the tag is? Like, because here's the thing about it. Like, first of all, I'm not even going to get into all that. I just don't believe that older men should be dealing with younger women in that stage of life just because your brain's not fully developed yet and you need to date people your own age. But
I agree with that.
In 2 years is a difference. Like 18 years old and 16 years old is a big, big difference in your development as a human being. And so that doesn't.
It's not like 28 and 30. No,
it's not. 18 and 16 is two different worlds. And the fact that you tried to, rationalize that, quite frankly, makes me look at you a little differently. Because I have a 16-year-old daughter. Yeah. And if she was dealing with an 18-year-old man, I would not be okay with it because it would be my 16-year-old teenage daughter dealing with an 18-year-old man. And quite frankly, I don't think that it's okay. Right. I don't think that it's okay. And shame on you for trying to rationalize that bullshit.
Peter Stone with the super chat says, I get y'all don't like Nicki. It's not that. It is not that. We're just being objective here. But
just being honest. Truth is the truth.
He said, but she's definitely praised Kim. She literally did it in an interview with Joe. She's a better rapper than most of y'all name. Okay. I didn't see the interview with Joe Budden, but see, this is the thing, guys. It's 2023. That's when that interview took place, I believe. If it's like that, man, make a record with Kim. You spent all these years ignoring Kim, degrading, you know what I'm saying? Like, just basically denying the overall influence, dissing Kim on top of that, and even trying to elevate Foxy, who I love, just to basically shit on Kim even more. So giving her props in a Joe Budden interview where Joe Budden probably put her in a position where she had to give Kim props, I don't feel like is enough, honestly.
And Mike, since we're being objective here, anybody that knows me knows I actually prefer Foxy over Kim. You'll never hear me put Foxy ahead of Kim. She hasn't earned it the way Kim has.
No, Kim's different, man.
You'll never hear me say that. And I prefer Foxy to Kim. I'll never say Foxy's greater than Kim because that's not fair to Kim.
Yeah. The path that Kim blazed is the path that Nicki was able to pick up on, not Foxy. And we got to be real. And I'm with you. I personally, if we're talking about putting somebody on a beat, I may prefer Foxy over Kim as well. Like we talk about I Shot Your remix and stuff like that. I'm with you. But even Foxy was biting Kim. when
I
Hot
was about to
Spot
say,
came out.
China Doll
It's
sounds
what
like a
it is.
hardcore album. China
It's
Doll
what it
sounds
is.
like hardcore, Mike.
Yeah.
Not as good as hardcore.
Hot Spot sounds like Kim. It is. It does.
It
We were
is,
there.
Mike. We were there. I was outside.
I remember when that dropped. We like, man, she sound like Kim. Even Puff said it on the what was that? You don't want to play around. You don't want to play around. He was like, stop sounding like her too, bitches. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was known.
Yeah. That happened. That happened
And that's
in real time, Mike.
That's no slight on Foxy, and I'm glad Foxy went back to her roots on the next project where she was able to do some Jamaican stuff. I thought that was awesome.
Mike, I think that was when I was 16 dating my 16-year-old girlfriend.
Mm.
Yeah.
K Nicole with the super chat says, was listening to the Jump Off in my car the other day, and every lyric is a bar. Still hadn't heard a Nicki song like that. I'm not even a big fan of the Jump Off, and I agree with that.
Mike, put your lighters up.
Oh man, put your lighters up.
Kim got styles, Mike. She got flows. She got bars. She got records. She got albums.
Yeah.
Rapping ass rap albums, Mike.
Yeah. Lex Diesel with the super chat says, Nicki got bodied by Remy, and now she's about to lose this battle. Has Nicki ever won a rap battle? She's looking real Eminem-ish right now. Yeah.
No, it's not that.
No. We got to keep it real, man.
Nicki
responds. Got to keep it real.
Nope.
We got to
respond.
Oh,
Nicki responds.
Okay,
that would be the difference right now. Nicki
and at least Nicki goes after more high-profile rap talent as well.
Yeah, she goes. She picks viable competition. Like Megan's viable.
Yeah,
I don't think Megan's a better rapper than Nicki though.
I don't.
The record better.
I don't either. But you know what? I think at this juncture, I think she has a better opportunity to make a better diss record than Nicki does. I just do. I mean, she didn't respond properly to Remy Ma either. I mean, because really, when Remy Ma going out there doing Sheether over the Ether beat, that's beatable. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't an original record, really. And Remy did her thing. I ain't tripping on that part, but you should have been able to win that. You know what I'm saying? Or it should have been able to get a response where it kept going to an extent. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says, I ain't no killer, but don't push me. Everybody knows the rest of the words. Machiavelli didn't have superstar producers either, and it's a classic. That's a very good point.
Mike, I mean, it's got, first of all, Bomb First is classic. Hail Mary, of course, is a classic.
Of course.
To Live and Die in L.A. is a classic. Me and My Girlfriend is a classic. Against All Odds is a classic. Like, that's what I mean. Like, he was rounding into form, Mike. Like, he was already better than, like, 98% of the guys anyway. He was about to take care of the other 2%.
007 with a Knicks update. Shout out 007 with the super chat. He says, pardon the interruption. The Knicks are balling out of control, and Brewston deserves at least MVP conversation. Back to your regularly scheduled program at HVHH. Thanks for the
007, I think, shout out to 007. I think this is the best the Knicks have looked in a very, very long time, and they're probably still going home in the first round because they're probably going to have to play the Pacers. They're not beating the Pacers in 7 games. All right.
Matt Max with the super chat says 18 is a man now. You know how many girls
yes.
18 dealing with people, and me at 16, they both was kids. How developed is your brain at 18? Like at high school age? I mean, you're in college at 18.
I got my first apartment at 17. Grown man shit.
I remember one of my classmates, she had an apartment at 17.
Yeah.
I thought that was wild. Zuri with the super chat says Tupac is one of the handful of MCs to not only produce better albums over time, but to get better. Try as a lyricist.
Like, think about this. Like, think about all the hits, Mike.
Yeah.
Think about all the content.
The fact that we could do a 20-song versus with this guy against anybody, and his career was 6 years is crazy.
And you still in 5 albums, Mike, and you're probably going to lose to him.
You will.
His records are massive, Mike.
You will lose to him.
Massive.
I don't know anybody that can beat him.
Snoop would have to play everything on Doggy Style in the Chronic.
Snoop has a chance, but I think the content is what would put Snoop in a backwards stance. Like
I mean,
when you play a
content.
Dear Mama, what does Snoop got for that?
I mean, content-wise, everybody short of Chuck D or Nas is taking an L, Mike.
He has everything. He has the content. He has the bangers. He even has content on the bangers. How Do You Want It got content.
I love How Do You Want It, Mike.
It's a great record. It's a record that aged incredibly well.
Yeah.
Critical Mass with the Super Chat says Machiavelli was made with producers that were being called whack by death row artists. Pac used them and he still made a classic. No Dre, no Daz, no DJ Quick, etc.
He's Tupac.
I love it, man. Y'all coming through today, man. That's
It's Tupac.
It's Tupac. So Benzino dropped another diss record at Eminem. And if you're wondering how this started, people, Friday, Joyner Lucas put out a record, and Eminem mentioned Benzino's name and Coi Leray's name in the record. And I guess in Slim Shady fashion, Eminem thought that, you know, certain people are easy targets. You could just say their name on records, and it would be a clout chase for that record and get the streams up, and they ain't going to say nothing. But to his dismay, not only did Benzino come with a record that Monday, 16 bars, I believe, but he came with another record, which is 4 minutes, and just straight bars for 4 minutes 2 days later, which was this morning. And I thought this record was pretty good. What were your thoughts on this record? It's called Rap Elvis, by the way. Excuse me.
The record's actually really dope, Mike. If you talk about my daughter, I'm going to go Tupac on you too and keep on dropping diss records and bomb first on you continuously, whether you respond or not. And so I think what people are forgetting in this is that, well, Eminem mentioned this man's daughter. And although his daughter is in the public eye and in the public view, that's still his daughter. And any father knows, it's like, oh, if you fuck with my baby girl, it's game on. And so it's game on. And I kind of could feel this coming a little bit. But then I heard the record today and I'm like, yeah, he feeling some type of way. And I think people also forget, like, Benzino was really out here, Mike. Like, he was heavy in the streets up in Boston. Like, he's known. The name of his crew is Made Men. No, he's a made guy where he's from. Like, he can walk around where he's from, like in the toughest areas in Boston. And Boston's hoods are rough. You know what I'm saying? And he can walk around, Mike. So it's like he has the street cred that Eminem doesn't have. And you done mentioned his daughter's name. It wasn't pretty, Mike, but it is what I love about hip-hop. It was some good old-fashioned inner-city angst from Benzino. And it was well-written, very articulate, and well-delivered. It was a dope-ass diss, Mike.
I like a lot of the points that he brought up. And, you know.
That's what I mean. It was well-articulated, Mike. He said some things where I was like,
I think the thing is, man, like, not many media outlets, whether it be journalism, whether it be, you know, hip-hop, you know, websites or hip-hop shows, whatever, podcasts, you're not going to find too many people out there that go give you a deep dive and critique Eminem's career out there. I mean, we're one of the few that do that. More people do it now. I think it's just time. You know, we're in an information age, and we have a generation now that you just can't fool. You just can't just turn on the TV and they tell you, okay, this person's the greatest, and this generation believes it. People want to do their own research and stuff now. And a lot of the things that were said in here, this record, I mean, were some things that we talk about on this show and that people talk about on social media. As far as like when he mentioned the Detroit MC that was saying that Eminem's not around here. He doesn't represent Detroit like that. The fact that he said something along the lines of, you come from the battle rap world, but you don't support any of these battle rappers. You don't support the battle rap scene like that. Drake was out there in the battle rap scene. He shows up to these URL joints. He's the biggest artist in the game currently.
Hold on. First of all, a couple things that he did on there. When he brought up the Drake thing and how Drake shows up to battles and stuff, like on some rap shit. But that's what I've been trying to tell y'all about Drake. It's like, no. He got a lot of rapping nigga tendencies outside of the singing. Like he does. It's like we're forever gonna remember him because he has sang so many hooks for so many other rappers. Like he's this, quote unquote, getting bodied by a singer nigga. Keep trying to tell you that's a rapping ass rapper inside of there that likes rap shit, that likes going to underground rap battles.
And it's funny, man. I said this maybe when Mos Def said his original statement that he is clearly backtracking from. Now we're gonna get to that. I was like, listen, man, if y'all aren't willing to say the Eminem's pop, I don't want to hear the Drake being pop thing because Drake is way more battle tested than Eminem has ever been. That's just the truth.
Think about this,
I'm
Mike.
glad he brought up Drake in this record as well.
No, that's what I mean. He said some insightful things when he made the Drake reference. I was like, yeah, Drake be outside with rap niggas doing rap shit, Mike.
Because you know what the stands can't say? They can't say, well, you know what? Eminem's too big to be at these rap battles. Oh, no. Drake's there.
Right.
What you gonna say now?
And the thing about it, and you want to know what's wild about it too, Mike? When Drake is there, niggas be happy that Drake is there.
It's like, an opportunity.
Oh shit, it's Drake. Like the underground rap niggas be like, oh shit, Drake in here.
Well, you know what Drake has the ability to do that Eminem can't do, and he kind of highlighted this on the record as well. Drake actually has the ability to give you a hit record in the streets. He can do what he did for Block Boy JB. Eminem can't do that for you. And when he listed all these artists,
expeditiously, Mike, he can do it expeditiously.
And when he listed all of these artists that never took off from Shady Records, I've never heard anybody speak like that or speak of that, and it's factual.
That was the most poignant part of the record, actually, Mike, because he gave M props for 50, and then he gave M props for 50 first, and then he detailed everybody else's failures.
And he didn't even mention, you remember Bobby Creekwater?
I was about to say.
He didn't even mention him.
Well, he's also smart. He didn't mention Obi Trice because Obi actually went platinum.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, Bobby Creekwater wasn't a success either. I actually went to high school with Creek, and he signed to Shady Records, and people thought he was going to be big. Nothing happened.
And he brought up the fact that the only member of D12 that was actually nice is unfortunately deceased. So he was in pocket. Like, he was so in pocket that people are walking around and saying that somebody wrote it for him. And it's like Benzino was never confused with Black Thought on the mic by any means, but He was a viable MC, Mike.
And the fact that people feel like, or people are even saying that somebody wrote this for him, that lets you know that him got bodied.
Well, Mike, what I'm saying is that, like, people understand this. Is like when you talk about somebody's daughter, you don't know what the nigga capable of. That's different.
Sure.
It's different. That's different. The level that you're willing to go, how hard you're willing to try, like, it changes when you talk about somebody's baby girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, just off of that, it's like, no, I'm gonna give him some credit and say that he wrote the record.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the tipping point that made him dig in. And it's like, oh, it's not just about me and you anymore. You talking about her? I got that ass. You just
if he didn't write, my thing is, if he didn't write it, who did?
You know how internet trolls go, Mike. We get trolled all the time. You know how that goes.
And I also like the fact that he highlighted, and we spoke about this on the show, and people speak about this on the internet. He highlighted who Eminem was willing to diss and who he was not willing to diss. He says you
Mike,
diss.
This is what I mean. He's intelligent. He ran it down in order, Mike.
He did. He said you diss Elton John, your mom, your ex, Britney Spears. You diss Lana Del Rey, fam, Moby, Iggy, not Iguodala, the white broad. Are you shitting me? Will Smith, Nick Cannon, Insane Clown Posse, a retired Joe Budden.
And he brought up how his album is next to Slipknot in the pop section.
It is. These are facts.
Slipknot used to be a punk band, by the way. I met Slipknot when I was in high school.
And he said, when I tell a lie, stop me. He said, Machine Gun Kelly, that boy damn near whipped you. Come on, dog. How Vanilla Ice gonna dish you? Come on, man. And you know what? Let's back up a little bit. And I remember saying this maybe the other day.
Hold on, Mike.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
And I need you to be honest.
For sure.
this is better than the Black Slim Shady by The Game.
I think it is. I think what
And so
the game did on the Black Slim Shady, he attempted to, and I get it, and I love it actually. I ain't listen. I'm not backtracking on what I think about the Black Slim Shady. I think it's a great record. I think what he tried to do was he did the first half where he was being him. He made a whole theme of it. If this was just that last verse of the Black Slim Shady, then I would say something different. But as a totality, when you want just straight bars, yeah, I'll give it to this record. It was direct. Everybody gets it, and there's nothing you can say about it, but maybe somebody wrote it.
you don't get to split the records in half, Mike. It's
Yeah.
just better.
You're right.
And listen to what I'm saying, because there were some people that felt like that the level that The Game operated on, not as an MC, but as a song maker on that record, that Eminem should not respond because the song wasn't good enough to respond to on the level of a diss for somebody of his quote unquote stature. But Mike, I'm here to tell you, oh no, this diss record is, and now I'm with you. He officially needs to make something. Like he has to.
This is the debacle he's in, Coop. Because
you call it a debacle? Did you call it a debacle?
Oh yeah. Listen. The Eminem show is over. The Eminem show is over. Let's just call it what it is. This is where he's at right now. And I think I said this on a live earlier when I jumped on just to kind of listen to the record with the people. He's in a place right now where I don't think he has the abilities that he had 20 some odd years ago to even make a record like The Sauce or Nail in the Coffin. That's one thing. I don't think the ability, the skill set, and all of those things are there now. Even if they were, he would have to not only respond to Benzino, he's still got to respond to Game. Because if you go out there and respond to Benzino, and that's cool for you to respond, you're cool with responding to people who rap part-time, you're not going to give a response to the real rappers? That's not a good look. You need to go. What he has to do now is something that I don't believe he can do. I don't believe that he can rap to the level to be able to beat a record like this. I know that Benzino is going to continue even if Eminem comes with another record. But again, he's also going to have to mention The Game. And if he mentions The Game, man, he'd have opened up a whole can of worms that he's not going to be able to close.
And here's what I liked about what Benzino did. He was like, no, he's like, Royce can come get some too. He's like saying, like, that's him. Like, that's the part about the diss record that I like, because that's the point that he's trying you. He's like, and go get your homie who can rap his ass off.
Because that's the only thing that's going to happen.
I mean, some type of way. Go get your homie that can rap his ass off.
I'm with you, Coop, but I like I said the other day, I don't want to hear anybody but Eminem respond to this. I don't want to hear Crooked I. I don't want to hear Royce. I don't want to hear Badar. I don't want to hear nobody.
That's the psychological part about it, though, Mike.
Right.
That's the psychological part about it, where he's like, yeah, I'll take on your homie, too, as in you're going to have to run and go get him to win this. Like, you know what I mean? I like how that operates. Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny because at this stage, and I'm not saying this to be funny, it's just the reality. 50 Cent is enamored with television right now. That's what he does. We even heard that on Magic 2 when he was on Office Hours. Like, he's not in rap shape per se because he's not rapping full time, and that's cool. 50 can't save you right now. He can't. You got to do this. The guy that everybody said would ruin people's career if they came at him. Oh, nobody wants it with Eminem. Why do you think nobody says anything? Because he'll ruin your career. You done lost to MGK. You done lost to The Game. And now you about to lose to Benzino. And shout out to the Detroit Lions. I think y'all got a great chance next year. Detroit, this is no reflection on y'all. This is him. Like old boy said, you don't represent Detroit like that. So I ain't putting this on Detroit. This is a solo.
We talk about Boldy. We have to talk about Boldy, Mike, who actually has been the best rapper in Detroit the last 5 years.
Shout out to Cash Dog, real Detroit. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, "Could it be true?"
That, Mike. Don't say real Detroit, Mike. It's so.
But I'm just saying, he's not. Listen, I'm not from Detroit. I'm not from Detroit to be able to speak on it. But at the end of the day, man, it's hard for me to say that a rapper from his era that's never rhymed over a Dilla beat is real Detroit. It's hard for me to say that.
Mike, you want to know what would cure all that? A diss record over a Dilla beat.
It's not going to happen. He can't do it. He can't rhyme over a Primo track. He can't rhyme over a Dilla track. He can't.
I mean, he can probably get a Primo track via Royce, I would like to think. I don't know if
I'm
Primo is
sure.
going to entertain it.
Cool. You understand who you're talking about? This is Eminem. He's one of the high. He is the highest selling rapper of all time. He could get a Primo track anytime. He's never done it because he can't rhyme over it. He can't. That's why Renegade was produced by him. He couldn't rhyme over those beats on the Blueprint. You know how I feel like the Blueprint probably went down? Because Jay is a hustler. Jay is a real one, right? Jay probably was like, look, I need this guy on the album, but he's just not sounding right on any of these tracks I'm sending him. Let's just get something that he already worked on and I'll adjust to. Andrew Williams with the super chat says,
I don't believe you can rap as long as he has, Mike, and not being able to rap over a Dilla or a Primo beat. So I don't prescribe to that the way that you do.
well, I don't believe you can rap as long as he has and not rhyme over a Premier or Dilla beat. And you have a guy who you're in a group with, Royce, who is in a group with Premier and made 2 albums with Premier. And you ain't rhymed over a Premier track yet? Biggie has, Jay has, Nas has. What's the problem?
I've told you, mentioning him with them is unfair to both sides. It's unfair to those guys, and it's unfair to him.
Mos Def has, Common has. Everybody's rhymed over a Premier track. What's the problem?
Not them either. He's not them in my opinion either.
Royce has 2 albums with Premier. Is he Royce?
I told you Royce was the best MC out of Detroit, Mike.
I'm with you on that. I personally like Elzai, but I'll give it to Royce.
I mean, you and I have had, Mike, when you and I argue about the best MC to ever come out of Detroit, you say Elzai, I say Royce.
So I think collectively it's Royce. If we talk about the work and the album and the output, I'll give it to Royce. I personally think that Elzai is the best lyricist I've heard out of Detroit. But yeah, I'll give it to Royce. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, could it be that you're not really from them streets? That's a Benzino line from the record. What we got here? I love it. That's dope. Was that a gift or you found that?
No, it was a gift.
That's dope. That's dope. Shout out to whoever gave me that. Hold on, let me get to some of these super chats. People done slow down the super chats because they want to hear a rant, I guess. Michael Williams with the super chat says, what's the better Jay intro? Medley or Dynasty? Medley or Dynasty? Well, Dynasty.
Medley? What medley is he talking about?
King 21 with the super chat says, Big Sean's been the best Detroit rapper and just killed a Dilla beat. Listen, if somebody feels like Big Sean's a better rapper than Eminem, I'm not mad at him.
But he's not better than Royce, Mike. Royce would ruin him on the mic.
Humble Bragger with the super chat says, Everlast Whitey's Revenge was the greatest Eminem diss record. Do you remember that? I remember that. But you know what? I remember Eminem credit, though. I love I Remember. I thought that was awesome. But once again, Everlast wasn't even rapping at the time. Everlast was doing his Whitey Ford thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was singing the blues, literally. But it's always guys who aren't really rapping where he feels comfortable jumping out the window on. Nick Cannon,
no, Mike.
Incredibly talented. We don't look at Nick Cannon as a rapper. Will Smith, Mike, he made it in the game as a rapper, but his acting career excelled him further than that. We don't look to Will Smith for raps.
So hold on. First of all, you want to talk about somebody being bigger than Eminem and not needing to respond? It's not that Will Smith couldn't respond, Mike. It's that he chose not to respond because he's like, who's this punk ass white boy? I'm Will Smith.
What was the point of even coming at Will Smith like that?
Like, Will Smith would have beat him, Mike. I told you, Will Smith is one of the most underrated rappers of all time, Mike.
Somebody in the chat, somebody in the thread a few weeks back, they said something. They said Mike D doesn't like Eminem because he dissed Michael Jackson.
You don't have the right to diss Michael Jackson, just so we're clear.
This is my right. And there is some truth to that. There's some.
We talk shit about Mike.
There's some truth to that. But the thing is, I wouldn't. if the man's career was what it was, I wouldn't let that stand in the way of where I placed him, right? But I will say this: when people talk down on Michael Jackson, this was like '04 while Michael was going through a trial and everything. It just lets me know the level of respect and the lack of appreciation you have for Black culture and Black music. It tells me a lot. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, it's not just him, but even when Barack Obama was president and his response to when Michael Jackson passed, I was like, that's kind of weird. It made me feel like, okay, well, I don't know how strong your connection really is to Black culture, because not only did we grow up on Michael Jackson, our parents grew up on Michael Jackson. And him being slightly younger than our parents, he grew up in the whole Jackson 5 era, you know what I'm saying, the Thriller era, Off the Wall era, and everything. So when I hear people just go out of their way to bash Michael Jackson, drag Michael Jackson, I mean, it just kind of let me know what Eminem thinks about Black culture and what his connection really is with Black culture. But I wouldn't hold that against him, but
First
it
of all,
doesn't
Mike,
put him in my favor either.
Mike, we're the only ones that get to make jokes about Michael Jackson and Bubbles and about Prince walking around with his ass out in some jeans. That's for us. We
And
make
they're in
those jokes.
jest. And even when we do it, they're in
We
jest.
make
It's
those
not
jokes.
like, I mean, he really dedicated a whole music video to going at Michael Jackson and had kids jumping on the bed and all this stuff. It was
But I
really
told you,
corny.
Mike, but I've always told you that if I ever had a problem with Dr. Dre, it's the stuff that he has allowed Eminem to do under his watch as it involves Black culture. Because you have a Black man right there who is revered, that knows what certain things and certain colloquialisms in this culture mean, and he has chose to overlook it to support this white man.
Well,
And so
Dre has
it's
told
given
us.
easy. It gives a little Easy and Jerry to it. You feel me?
Well, you're right. Dre told us back in '95 when he was on the show, the documentary by Russell Simmons, Def Jam. It's entertainment for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go out here and do what's on record, or you hear me say on record, you're stupid. So he kind of already put it out there. And like you said, I agree with you, but obviously there are no limits to it. If it's going to sell and it's going to cause controversy, Drake's not going to stop it. And he's proven that, and he kind of said that from jump. But you're right. The whole Michael Jackson thing, I remember BET actually banned the video. People like Steve Harvey, and I want to say it was like Al Sharpton and them were out there protesting against the video, but nobody in the rap community really stood up and said anything at the time. I'm sure the internet age would have been a little different, but again, saying all that to say, yeah, I remember that. I do. And so when we have to really look at your career for what it is and be non-biased about it and look at your catalog and look at you album for album and start looking at the people that you actually chose to go to battle with and the people you didn't choose to go to battle with, I'm not going to have you in any favor. Why should I?
Why should I?
I mean, and people like to pull the whole cannabis thing out their ass. The truth of the matter is, once again, we were there. He didn't go at cannabis full throttle until cannabis was in the U.S. Army overseas, not with a record deal or anything anymore. And that's just the truth.
These are facts.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says Benzino was great. The Black Slim Shady didn't land because it felt random, unprovoked, and awkward. A lot of us felt like, where did this come from? I'm glad you said that, Jermaine, but we never asked the question on the other end. Where did the Benzino disc come from Friday? Where did that come from? Where did
I told you.
even
I told you he talked, Mike, I keep telling you, he talked about that man's daughter. It's on.
Where did that come from? I mean, did that come from just interviews that Benzino was doing where people were asking him about Eminem or whatever?
No, Mike. Here's where I'm going to give you some credit. Here's where I'm going to give you some credit again and let you talk your shit. It felt like a cheap shot because you're picking on a man who's always been older than you, that really doesn't rap anymore, and now you're picking on his daughter who does she does the Chris Brown thing. It's R&B, but it's kind of rapish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you thought you had yourself an easy target, and you got that ass beat.
It's funny, man. The easy targets have been happening since day one. We kind of ignored it because even on Hi, My Name Is, he made a little Usher name drop, Marilyn Manson name drop. And then on the Real Slim Shady, he comes at Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson on the first bars. You know, as an adult, man, looking back on that, I'm like, look, man, if this man would have made a record talking about me beating my wife's ass, I would have had to go see this nigga. And then,
Yeah. I
second
know who
verse,
getting their ass beat if you do that. If you do that with
exactly,
me, I know who getting their ass beat. It's gonna be you.
right.
You don't gotta worry about her. I'll be looking
And
for
then,
your ass out here.
and then he says, "Fuck Will Smith," and then Carson Daly, Fred Durst, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. All this is in the second verse. So randomly calling people out and just trying to start things with people randomly. That's his whole MO. But no one ever asked, where does this come from? But when Game did what he did, well, people were like, that was kind of random. Where did it come from? So he can do that, but other people can't do that to him. Is that what we're saying? The standards are different for him for some reason? Or that's his shtick? He's Slim Shady when he does that, and he's Eminem when he does something else.
Is that what it is? Is that his shtick, Mike?
I guess that's what it is. Like, okay, Dr. Dre's in my basement. I'm crazy.
You're asking some fascinating questions, Mike.
I mean,
I'm like, I gotta give it to you on this day, Mike, because quite frankly, this is the day you've been waiting for, Mike. This is the day you've been waiting for, haven't you? Been waiting for this.
It's all been building up. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Good to see you guys, A2HH." But Master Ace got album of the year right now. That's what I text Coop.
You did text me that, and I was thinking to myself, well, we have to put it in the rubric, and also too, I do have some commentary about it in relationship to the Benny album, because a lot of people are walking around like it's album of the year, and I'm just gonna tell you now and give you a little clue into where I'm going. Y'all are giving off some get off my lawn old head boom bap rap vibes by saying that too.
I knew you were gonna say this. One Coop texted me. Coop texted me before I heard the album, and he said, "Mike, you're gonna like the Master Ace." I'm like, I know what that means. Yeah. And I did. So he was right.
I'm just saying, we're just gonna have a conversation about how it's 2024 as well when we talk about the Master Ace album. I found the Master Ace album to be wonderful, Mike.
Yeah, it's hard to critique.
I'm also 42. Yeah. And I have to be honest with myself, and I have to be honest with our demographic. And we're going to get into that shortly, because we're going to talk about the Boldy album and the Che album as soon as you get done waxing poetic about him, Mike, or lack thereof.
Lack thereof. We're gonna. We talked about the record. We need to talk about what's going to happen after the record, after these super chats. Michael Williams says Medley is the intro on Volume 1, aka A Million and One. Okay.
Oh, that's better. That's better than the Dynasty intro. That's the best start to any Jay-Z album.
Jeez, man. A Million and One is heavy, man.
And Rhyme No More, Mike.
Shit crazy.
Mike, we have a spot down here called the Apartment 4B. This owned by guys from Brooklyn, and it's based on the line from Rhyme No More, Mike.
Bro, when we did that Kanye and Jay-Z song matchup and you played A Million and One, I'm like, man, this record's heavy.
Shit's different.
Once again, premiered twice, right? The Evils and A Million and One, man, those are high-level Jay-Z records. High-level Jay-Z records.
Those are two of his 10 best records, Mike. Those are two of his 10 best records.
Easily 10.
Maybe
it could
5.
be debated 5. It could be debated 5. Because as much as I love Imaginary Player, it's hard for me to really objectively say Imaginary Player is better than A Million and One and The Evils. It really is. I personally like it better.
I like it better. It's not better than The Evils to me, though.
It's not. If I'm being objective, I like it better than The Evils. But if I'm being objective, The Evils is a better song.
I think we prefer Imaginary Players, because if we were to play a record and be like, who is Jay-Z that you grew up on? It's like, cue Imaginary Players for these niggas, please.
Yeah. Conversational
That would be the record.
Yeah.
Conversational J. But
honestly, you know what? I would play You Don't Know, but yeah, Imaginary Players is right there too.
But if we're talking about the quality of a record, though, Mike, The Evils is arguably his best record still to this day.
It could be, and he would probably say that himself. That's what I love about Jay, though. When they talk to Jay, he's honest about his catalog. Unless he's promoting a new album or whatever. But once you get past him promoting a new album, he's very honest about his catalog. He'll tell you what his best stuff is.
Yeah.
And it usually falls in line with stuff we say.
But he'll tell you what his personal favorites are, too.
Yeah, he will.
Like, I'll never forget when he said Lucky Me was maybe his favorite song to make on Volume 1. And I'm like, how is that? How? Explain it to me, Jay.
King 21 with the super chat says Sean washed Royce on Detroit versus everybody. Coop. I don't think Coop's just I mean, I don't want to put the words in your mouth, Coop, but you don't seem to be too high on Big Sean as an MC. Sean got bars.
I'm an album guy, Mike. I'm gonna be an album guy because that was the standard by which the great artists were judged. A lot of guys have come along and had the ability to spit hot verses. Very few have shown the ability to consistently make good to great to classic albums. What's his best album? And that would be where I have him rated the way that he does. Because I don't even think he's made a top 100 rap album. Maybe not even 150, Mike. And
What did you think about Detroit too? Because I think that's the most recent offering that we kind of, held high.
I enjoyed it, Mike, but that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so let's rate Detroit 2 in relationship to just this era since we've been doing this podcast starting in March of 2020. Because we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of the show, actually.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, me too. So in the 4 years that we've been doing this, Mike, do you think that Detroit 2 would even make our top 50 rap albums?
50? Yeah. Maybe not
Are you
20
sure?
or 25. I got to think about it. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
Are you sure?
We need to, because do you think everything, do you think all 6 of Nas and Hit Boys would be above it?
Yes. I was about to
Even
say, so first of all, yes, all the Freddie albums are better. All the Nas hit albums are better. Mike, I mean, all of Benny albums have been better. That would be 3. About 3 of West Side's albums have been better. About 3 or 4 of Conway's albums have been better, Mike. So we could just go within Griselda, Hit Boy, and Freddie and pick about 15 to 17 albums better than that album. And that's not getting to everybody else's shit. Are you sure? Like, Mike, you remember Sky Zoo? Because we're about to talk about this in a minute. Remember Sky Zoo's All the Brilliant Things? Do you think that the Big Sean album is better than that?
No, it's not. All the Brilliant Things is awesome.
Isaiah Rashad's The House is Burning. Is it better
I listen
than
to that all the time. I was listening to that this morning.
Is it better than ELE2 by Busta Rhymes?
I'm going to keep it real with you, Coop. I haven't listened to Detroit 2 in a minute. I probably haven't listened to it.
So I'm not hating on the man. I know he's super talented and he has the ability to stand with the Titans when he's rapping for just a verse. But if we're talking about the albums, Mike, it's like Detroit 2, if it did make top 50 albums since we've done this podcast, it would be somewhere between 40 to 50, Mike. And that's just not going to cut it in a 4-year period. So it's like I'm very clear on how I feel. I'm objective and unbiased like I usually am. I just go check the rhyme. I check the album. I check the beats. And here's where I'm not being biased. Didn't Hit Boy do beats on that album?
He did.
I don't like those beats like that.
Really? Mad Max with the super chat says, I've heard Sean out-rap both Royce and M on the same track. Royce ain't that nice. Lupe will tell you that. Not Lupe will tell you. Mad Max with a zing there.
Hold on. Mad Max, Lupe will tell you a lot of things, especially when you're still holding on to his deleted tweets because he ran from me.
Man, Lupe is, he gave Royce the business.
He gave Royce the business, though.
Lupe made an example of Royce and Mos Def, too. And for the Eminem fans out there, I want to say this. And I said
he tried to make an example out of me, then he deleted his tweets like a buster.
I said this earlier, man. I get it, man. When you're a fan of somebody, you're a fan, man. You ride with them and all of that. But we have to understand, are you more of a fan of Eminem or are you a fan of hip-hop? And if you're a fan of hip-hop, you got to be objective about what's going on with your favorite artists. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that Andre 3000 is a solo artist with no solo material and no song with 3 verses in a 30-year career is a top 5 MC because I like him, because I grew up on him, because he inspired me and, was a big impact on me. I'm not going to do that because I love hip-hop too much to even say that. Lupe really shined a light on Mos Def for me. That was kind of a turning point for me as well when Mos was coming out here going at Drake again, talking about he'll battle anybody. And then Lupe stepped up and was like, what's up? And he said, I ain't got time to write raps. I wasn't going to let Mos Def, even though he was one of my favorite rappers at the time and still is, I wasn't going to give him a pass for that. And you guys shouldn't give Eminem a pass for this Benzino stuff. What happens moving forward? If he doesn't respond to this, there's no excuse for that. It's no excuse. He has to be docked for that. And if he does respond and it's not adequate, it's got to be docked for that too. If he does respond and he has failed to respond to the game, we got to factor in those things too. Because again, look at the resume of the people that he's willing to respond to. It's blaring. It really is. Say what you will about Drake. He responded to Pusha T when that record wasn't even totally about him. He could have easily been like, man, that's Wayne's problem. But he didn't. And even though Pusha T did what he did, as we expected, at least Drake jumped in the ring. And none of you guys, including myself, would have thought that Drake would have did Meek Mill as dirty as he did him. And he did. That happened.
Told you, Mike.
He could have walked away from that too. He could have said, you know what? I'm too big for that. I'm a singer. I don't need to jump in that. He didn't.
Mike, Drake is a king of the light skins, Mike.
By no metric. And I mean this. Unless you want to go on some syllable rapidy rap bullshit, no metric is Eminem better than Drake. Bottom line. On some hip hop shit. It's not. And this guy's supposed to be the battle rapper? And we're sitting here waiting for his response to Benzino? You just got smoked by Benzino? It's not enough that you got smoked by Machine Gun Kelly. And your audience tried to skew those numbers because, what's the name of that song? Kill Shot? Because it did all these numbers. Don't nobody remember any of them bars on that shit. Nobody. You got smoked by Machine Gun Kelly and Benzino? The game, I get that. You know, the game dismantled G Unit. The game is a machine. The game ain't gonna stop. I understand him ducking the game.
I'm just, you know.
I understand.
Let you have your day, Mike.
I'm sorry. I've been sipping a little bit, but I'm keeping it real. Keeping it real.
You've been waiting for this day. It's okay. You've been waiting. You've been waiting for this day.
You know what? When I heard that diss record, man, I was like, wow.
You were so happy. You were so happy, Mike. When the diss record got done, I thought of Mike. I was like, Mike is happy today. It's going to be a great show.
I was like, wow, man. I mean, I'm happy that we get a great analysis of this career. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to certain parts of this career. Now, I'm not gonna diss the numbers. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, the accomplishments are the accomplishments, and the albums are the albums. But this whole thing about him being this battle rapper that nobody wants to see on a record, that's not true. It's never been true. And we're finally seeing that. The truth's
You're waiting for this day. You've been waiting for this day.
I mean, I'm glad this day has come. He's not going to respond to this. Do you think he's going to respond?
I'm not joking when I say this, Mike, and I don't have him in the top 5 or 10 or 15. He may not even make my top 20, but wherever I have him, if he doesn't respond, I'm sliding him down another 5 to 10 notches for not responding. Because whether I agree with some of the things that you say or not, here's what I do firmly believe about hip hop. When somebody makes a dope ass diss about you, you do not use excuses why you don't respond. You respond. If the diss record is dope, you have to respond. That's it. There ain't no like conversation about it. There ain't no like numbers metric. There ain't no street credentials metric. If somebody disses you, like Mike, there are things that he said on the record where I was like, ooh, oh shit. And when that happens on a diss record, you have to respond. And about that, he has to respond. Damn all the numbers. Damn his whiteness. Damn his hood. Damn 8 months. Like all that. I don't care about none of that. When you get dissed in this climate, in this culture, you have to respond. And when somebody like Drake has shown the propensity to respond to the likes of somebody with the street credentials of a Meek Mill, a Pusha T, or whoever else want it, whether he wins or loses, he responds, Mike.
Because according to Mos Def, Drake is a pop artist. He shouldn't have to respond anyway.
We don't hand out hall passes on diss records. It's like, let's give him a hall pass for the diss record. No. It's like, no, nigga, you better step to the mic.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, unless somebody's on some clout chasing shit, on some, and when I say clout chasing, I mean like, you know, you got somebody around the corner who hadn't sold a single record coming at somebody that sold 1 million records. Unless you got a situation like that, I think that you have to respond to somebody who's had a career like the Game's. I think you do. I think that based on the people that he's responded to for way less, yes, you got to respond to that. You responded to Mariah Carey, and Mariah Carey's a superstar, but she's a singer. You responded to Nick Cannon. You responded to Everlast. You responded to,
Mike.
you know what I mean? It's like the
You've given
Game.
the rundown 3 times of who he's responded to, like 3
Okay,
or 4 times.
I don't want to be redundant. I'm just saying. I think that
Mike,
this narrative that you can't respond to the Game because some people didn't like the record, I think that's objective, right? I don't think that really quantifies who you respond to. I think that the legend, if you're this battle machine like people say you are,
Mike,
and the record wasn't what it was, shut Game down. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do that on wax. I think where we first saw this and where this came to light is when he wasn't able to stop Machine Gun Kelly. I think this opened everything up. Because when Machine Gun Kelly jumped out the window, I remember people were like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, man, his career's about to be over. He's done. I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's never been proven before. And it still hasn't been proven. It's like when you find a boxer that has been fighting whack boxers or whatever and gets pumped all the way up, and he has a glass jaw, and he gets in the ring with somebody who knows he has a glass jaw and exposes that to everybody else. Man, it's blood in the water now. Nobody's scared of Eminem on wax. You might be scared of him behind the scenes or what he might be able to do behind the scenes to you. But on wax, no. Who is he really taking out the game like that, Coop? This ain't a movie, dog. This ain't a movie.
You've been waiting for this day for so long.
B Rabbit's not a real person, man.
I'm just gonna let you talk.
B Rabbit's in a script. It's not a real person. Mad Max with the super chat says, "Well, Dr. Dre pushed gangbanging culture on us. He's more of what people say Hove is than Hove actually is. Dr. Dre sold his people out a long time before him." Mad Max in the building. Let's see. I think we got a couple more super chats, and we can move on because I don't want to be on this all night. We got a lot of other stuff.
Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to be on it all night, Mike? Are you sure?
Well, listen, man. If he don't respond, then I guess we got to respond with that too. How long does he have to respond? Let's say that because Benzino said he got 48 hours to respond.
I'm with Benzino. You've dropped 2 diss records. This is getting very Meek Millish right quick where Drake was like, I know you just ain't going to let me punk you, right?
Man, if he don't drop a song by our next show on Monday, oh my God, man. I'll have some time to really get some notes together. King21 with the super chat says, wow. Hell nah, go re-listen to Detroit 2. Detroit 2 was dope. I'm going to go re-listen to it. Reggie Silver with the super chat says, I'm an M fan, but he made a huge mistake giving Benzino life. Completely unnecessary. He's now in risk of losing a battle that he won decisively 20 years ago. I agree with that, Reggie. But you know what? This is his MO. He picks on people that he thinks he can already beat and has already beaten, and he didn't anticipate anything like this happening. Because when he picks his fights, like we were talking about last episode, it usually goes the way that he wants it to go. This wasn't part of the script. Dot with the super chat says, Sean's last 3 albums have also went #1 as well, so he deserves his respect. Yeah, he does deserve his respect. I think he's one of the most underappreciated of his era. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Volume 1 intro is the better song, but the Dynasty intro sonically makes for a better album intro. The build-up was masterful. Yes, it was.
No, it doesn't.
I can agree with that.
Wrong. I don't agree with that at all. Like
I'm sorry, but
the Dynasty intro is not fucking with 1,000,001 and Rhyme No More on any level, in any context, in by any measure. 1,000,001 Rhyme No More is a top 10 Jay-Z song. The Dynasty intro is like number 50. Like, stop that.
Not even if we're talking about in the context of an intro, though.
Mike, how good is the Dynasty album? All right.
The source gave it 4.5 mics.
The source give everything Jay do 4.5 mics. Mike, just so
Did
you
they
want to know
give
the
that?
truth, it's
I
like,
think they did give it 4.5. That's not a 4.5 mic album.
Mike, we not even sure if it's a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to pick between 3.5 and 4, and those are the choices back then for the source, I would lean more towards 4 than 3.5. But yeah, it's between.
Mike, it's got the Dynasty intro. It's got I Just Want to Love You. It's got This Can't Be Life. And it's got 1-900 Hustler. The rest of that stuff is just okay.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "I'm sorry, but Sean has a lot of trash bars. A lot."
You want to know what? Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make a note to myself. I'm going to make the top 50 rap albums that have come out since we started doing this podcast.
I like that.
And let's keep in mind, this podcast got started with the Jay-Z J Electronic album. That's better than Detroit 2.
It is.
It is.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, "In your opinion, what distinguishes manifesto rap, mafioso rap from regular gangster rap? What characteristics are inherent in mafioso rap?" That's a good question. I think mafioso rap is a little bit more articulate than gangster rap, where gangster rap is more so in your face. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think it's the vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It said Mike went ghostwrite. Y'all talking this ghostwriting shit. Who ghostwrote it? Like, who would
Please,
write?
can we move on? So, like, y'all stop asking Mike questions about Eminem so we can actually move to other topics and
Let's
review
move to
albums. Oh my
something
God.
else. You want to go to the Most Def thing, or you want to talk about these albums?
No, we can end with these albums. We can talk about Most Def moonwalking like Michael Jackson and Billie Jean.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
That'd be great. I tried. Mike, how many times I've been telling you about these conscious dudes? Mike, where'd you go?
No. You should be
y'all.
able to see the screen. No.
Told you about these told you about these quote unquote conscious rappers, Mike. You can't trust these niggas.
You know
Been
what?
saying it for years.
I'm just gonna have to play the audio because I want people to hear this. I don't want to take anything out of context.
One day you're gonna listen to me. One day you're gonna listen to me.
Fair use.
Rappers.
It's the conscious
rap.
You're gonna be able to go.
Most.
Oh, speaking of Talib has deleted his Twitter. Not Twitter, excuse me. He got banned from Twitter. He's deleted his Instagram.
Mike, I think on behalf of everybody who know, I think on behalf of all of us that have watched how Talib behaves on social media, I'd like to say praise the Lord, like the Kanye song. Or is that praise God?
It's praise
God. Which song? Which overrated Kanye song is it, Mike? Praise God.
God's great. All right, let's get to Most Def.
Whatever.
Yasin, excuse me.
If you would like to speak to me directly, you can. It was Drake. If you would like to speak to me directly, you can at any point. I reached out to Chappelle, asked him to reach out to you. I DM'd you. You are a very talented MC.
Wait a minute.
It was not.
Did the mighty Most Def just say he DM'd Drake and he talked to Dave Chappelle?
God.
Let me go back. I'm sorry, guys. Let's
Drake,
Motown 25, Mike Moonwalk.
At any point, I reached out to Chappelle, asked him to reach out to you. I DM'd you.
This is hilarious.
You are a very talented MC. Me, I require more of myself. Talent or charm or charisma, particularly in times of urgent crisis. But I would like to see in terms of creators or creative people in the world as it relates to our culture is for people to connect with us beyond the jukebox. Drake, there was not an opportunity to try to slander him or to clown on him. I have reached out to him. I have no responses yet, but I'm not keen to talk about people or to them to be screened. I prefer to talk to people directly.
What's he doing now?
I will say this: the young man is very talented. He's been able to be very successful with that talent, and I have no issue with his success or anything that he's been able to achieve as a result of his talent.
Yo, Yassine, man, blink twice if you're in danger, my nigga. 007 with the super chat says, Big Sean can spit albums are inconsistent. Yes, Big Sean can spit
Oh
albums are
God.
inconsistent.
Whew.
Listen, man.
No, Mike. I just let you talk. I just let you talk, Mike. It's my turn. It's
Go
my
for
turn.
it, man.
What have I told you about these conscious niggas? I told you these quote unquote conscious rappers, and I don't like the word conscious, or these woke rappers, these enlightened rappers with their belief systems and their views and their diets. I told you these are the most buster ass niggas in this space. They're not as reliable as the quote unquote gangster rappers. You see what I'm saying? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Do you hear what is going on right now
That
with
was
these dudes?
shameful. I thought the Lupe situation was shameful with most of them. This is worse.
Look here. I still got Lupe's deleted tweets because he's unreliable. Everybody got receipts on Talib. Unreliable. You see what Common did to your boy Ye? Unreliable. You see Yassine right now? Unreliable. And I'm not talking about the music, Mike. I'm talking about the men.
Did you hear?
Musically.
Speaking of
Hold on,
moonwalk.
no, Mike. I'm not finished.
Go
I
ahead,
just
go
let you
ahead,
do
go
an
ahead.
Eminem thing.
Go ahead. I got
Musically,
you.
I'm not talking about them. Rap Roundtable pulled up. Sincere thought Black on Both Sides was a classic. I went back and listed Black on Both Sides. He's right. It is a classic. I recanted my statement about Black on Both Sides. All right? It's a classic. The Cool by Lupe, classic. You know how I feel about Common as an artist, Mike. One Day It All Makes Sense, Resurrection, Like Water for Chocolate, B, Finding Forever. One of rap's best catalogs. Top 10 rap catalog. Maybe top 5 even. Talib, well, whatever. But say this to say, the most unreliable rap niggas in this space are these quote unquote woke niggas. And you're seeing it, Mike. You're hearing it. The manifestation of it. I told you can't trust these guys. I told you that's the nigga from the Change Clothes video, Mike. Most look here, man. Most got it like Yassine got damn near as many kids as fucking NBA YoungBoy. What the fuck we doing? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Am I wrong? I
You're
told you
not
that's the nigga
wrong.
from the Change Clothes video getting the chick number, right? Out here talking all this polished woke shit. Buy that shit.
I don't know what to say, man.
And I tell a nigga to his face about it, like because it's like I've been saying it for years, and this is just more evidence to the fact these niggas don't know whether they coming or going half the time, and he's the leader of the tribe at that, Mike. Battle anybody, I don't care who tell. Lupe was like, I'll tell it. Disappeared for 2 years on us, Mike. We didn't even hear a bar for 2 years, damn near.
Why did they
Now
do
go, Mike.
this? Why listen? Why do they do
It can't
this?
be
Why do they
trusted, Mike.
even jump out the
Because they get
window?
elevated.
Why do
Because
they
they
even
get
jump out the
elevated.
window when they know they're going to recant their state? Like I
Mike,
knew the
because
moonwalk was coming. I knew it was coming.
they
Like
get
why do they
no. You
do
called
this?
the moonwalk, Mike, but they get elevated and deified in this community because they don't talk gangster shit, and it's like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Well, see, this is the thing, and this is the deeper
What does
part
that
of.
have to do
And
with
you're right
anything?
about everything you said. Their fans,
Unreliable.
the fans are the ones that feed into this behavior. They know that they could be this inconsistent and their fans are going to ride with them regardless because they know their fans are going to find ways to make excuses for them and there won't be any backlash. My thing is like if you know you're about to go out here and recant this for whatever reason, why even say this in the first place? The question was simple. Is Drake hip hop? Say yes, because you know when
Hold
you
on.
say something else, you're gonna say
When
in a couple of weeks, "My bad." I see. You
hold
know what
on,
I'm saying?
Mike. Let me ask you something. When's the last time Yassine pulled up to one of them battles that Drake pulls up to?
Exactly.
Let's be talking about what's hip hop. When the
But see,
last
this
time?
is what's
When
gonna
the
happen, Coop. People are gonna
when the
sit
last
here and
time
say we
Yassine made a
caping for
viable diss
Drake.
record? When the last time Yassine was in a rap beef and made a viable diss record,
You
or even
right.
sparred with somebody, Mike?
Who's more battle tested, Yassine or Drake?
Drake.
But see, people are gonna say we're caping for Drake. What we're doing is we're being objective. That's what this looks like. And that's why I even mentioned him when we were talking the Eminem conversation. I'm a big Yasin fan, and when Lupe called him out that time, that revealed a lot to me. I was like, hey, I can't call it because what Most did before that, I don't know if you remember this. He got on Angie's show and was talking about he would battle Lil Wayne, he would battle Jay, and these guys, and those guys didn't respond to anything. So I'm sitting here as a fan, like, yeah, shit, Most ready to battle or whatever. And then when somebody went out there like a Lupe and said, well, come on, and challenged them on it, I don't battle, man. I was like, really?
First of all, step the J if you want to, Mike.
Right.
I would not advise that shit. Would not advise stepping the J.
Your ass is dense.
Would not step the J. That's stupid, Mike. That's suicide. Even at this stage in the game, Mike, with us being unimpressed with his bars, I think just because he is so battle tested before he had a deal and when he had a deal, you challenge that man to a battle, crush Yasin.
That would light a fire in Jay.
Right. He would feel insulted and light that man on fire. His career would be over.
I'm looking down because I'm actually looking for this Common clip while you're talking, Coop. Because
I'm looking down on all them niggas. I told you not to trust them niggas, Mike. You know,
I want to play this on air too.
How the song by Tribe Called Quest go? Phony rappers, right? There it is.
Unfortunately.
There it is.
Hold on, let me try to find this real quick because I don't know if you heard Common on. I don't know if you heard Common on Hot 97. He was out promoting his book, and you know, I'm just gonna keep it real. You know, I've been sipping a little bit tonight, but I'm being honest.
A little bit, Mike.
A little bit. I reached out to Common's people when I found out that he was writing a book. This was months ago, and I reached out to the publishers and whatnot to see if we could have a sit down with Common to speak about Black men's health and things of that nature. That's what the book's about because that's really important for our community. I know we talked to people. I thought that would be a great objective. Well, these people gracefully declined in the email or whatever, I guess gracefully, but they said he's not going to be able to do it. It was basically a no, right? And so my thought process was one of two things is going to happen. Either he's just not going to do any hip hop media, or he's just not going to do any media at all, but he's writing a book, so that makes no sense. Or I'm going to see him on Good Morning America, The View, and all these mainstream platforms, and boom, that's what happened. But anyway, he ended up on Hot 97 talking about his book, and he was asked about the Drake thing as well. And mind you, this is somebody who Drake has beaten in a battle, and they asked him about Mos Def's comments about Drake. And I'm trying to find the actual clip, but what he said was basically, man, Drake's a dope MC, man. He a great MC, yada, yada. So totally switched it up on that. Let me try to find this, though, because I want you guys to hear his words.
You do know Drake shouted out Yasin last year for being one of the first people to allow him to open for him. That was just last year that Drake did that. You know that, right?
So where is this coming from, then? Is this coming from a place of jealousy or something?
It's coming from these unstable ass woke rappers who think that they're above these other rappers just because they don't kill people in their music or they don't push bricks in their music. They really think that they're better and above it. Or because they don't make pop records, they're more in tune with the culture. They're the problem with the culture, Mike. I keep on telling you, there's some phony ass rappers and some whack ass gatekeepers.
So based on their content choices, they feel like they're more hip hop.
We don't talk about that stuff. Yeah, we don't talk about that stuff these other guys talk about. When we don't step outside of the culture box to make our quality hip hop songs, it's like, nigga, you don't make songs on a regular basis. How about that? How about you start by making songs on a regular basis, nigga? How about that? How about
Jay-Z had to deal with that? Jay-Z had to deal with that in the prime of his career because it was like the backpack community or the conscious community kind of treated. Biggie had to deal with it too. Kind of treated the quote unquote jiggy rap like it was not rap. But we're talking about an artist who made $1 million. That's pretty hip hop to me.
It's all hip hop, Mike. That's why it's like they try to make it seem like their space is more special or more authentic to the original core values of hip hop. Like Rakim on Know the Ledge was doing mafioso talk. I chill like De Niro, Black Gambino, die like a hero. That's
Let me get to the
Rakim.
super chats. I want to see what people think about this.
KRS-One made my 9mm goes bang, Mike. That ain't no conscious song.
He did.
So you'll get your ass shot if you come to the South Bronx fucking up around here.
It's true. Listen, let me get the web visibility super chat. He says most sounded like he's been taken hostage. You know, it really did sound like a nigga got some act right, man. It really did. And in the words of Dave Chappelle, what the fuck Dave Chappelle got to do with this? Like he said about Ja Rule, why are you calling Dave Chappelle? Why are you DMing Drake? I don't want to know what Dave Chappelle has to say about you and Drake's back. You started
Dave Chappelle
this.
don't rap, nigga. Dave
Chappelle
don't rap.
It's
for a living.
Dave Chappelle about to make you a beat or something? What Dave got to do with any of this?
Turn me up in the headphones, yo.
What was the...
Turn me up. My mic nice.
The Chappelle name drop was just confusing. Like, that whole thing was confusing.
I'm confused by their whole agenda, Mike. And I've been saying it for years. I told you they're no different,
sad,
Mike.
Man.
I told you they're no different. They're no different. Now, my problem is how they make it try to seem like they're different or they're special. It's like, nah, Lupe lost his cool on me on Twitter and deleted a bunch of tweets. Talib pulled up on Instagram and started blasting our fans one night out the middle of nowhere like he had a right to. This nigga Yasin be pulling up acting like he's the hottest rapper that ever lived, and we don't even know if he has the capability of making one more great album because he's only made one truly great album in his entire career, Mike.
Wow.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I found the Common clip.
You know what Common did to your boy Yeezy. We don't even need to talk about that, Mike.
Let me listen up. Here's Common on Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
He hit Kanye with the OJ, Mike. Stabbed him in the back about 4-5 times.
Here's Common after being asked about Mos Def's comments about Drake. He was on Hot 97 on Ebro in the morning. Here it is.
Appreciate that. Were you privy to this recent Mos Def little internet moment? Yeah, I did. With the whole Drake thing, what do you make of that? We debated it a bunch on here about, like, you know, and not so much even on Drake, right? Everybody happy, he's great. Like, we like his music. He's, you know what I'm saying? You guys have had your back and forth or whatever, but just hip hop being pop music. Right. Specifically, what Mos was talking about, consumerism in rap and all these things. And I thought of it because of, you know, the Roots song, What They Do. Yeah. Roots just talking about. And this idea of hyper consumerism in rap, you know, or specifically like trying to be everything to everybody and all of these kind of touch points that was in that convo. What's your opinion on that? Well, you know, I wrote a song called I Used to Love Her. And that joint was really speaking to that to a certain degree. Like, at that time, like when it started becoming real corporate and losing the purity of it. I think now, you know, artists can be artists, meaning like everything is, some people like if their intention is to just be the pop artist, then so be it. I think, you know, to me.
Nigga, what? He just said a bunch of nothing. All right, I'm gonna start it back. He literally just said.
See,
I
he could have ran for office.
Drake comes from hip hop. Like when I first heard him rhyming, I was like, "Yo, this dude rhyming." Yeah. And he was, you know, and if he goes out and makes songs that are popular, that's what it is. But he's still an MC. And also Drake's never Pitbull. He never went flow rider Pitbull with the pop. Listen, I mean, the dude is an incredible songwriter. He's an incredible artist, man. Yeah. Like you can't touch that many people without having some type of, especially on a, you know, for a long enough period of time as he's been doing it. Like it's pop artists, excuse me. It's pop artists that you know, they have a hit and it's gone and you forget, oh, who was that? But I mean, this man has touched different aspects of culture, like, and been able to continue to do it. So, you know, you gotta have some respect and know that, like, yo, this dude is a very talented artist. And at the same time, I think you said it, Rosenberg.
You know what? I noticed just listening to that back. He refrained from labeling Drake as an MC. He kept saying the word artist. He kept saying popular. He kept saying other words around him being a dope MC. He didn't even really use hip hop in that term. You know what I mean? Listen, man. He beat you in the battle, man. I mean, we just got to acknowledge that. That happened. It did. And I think Common's one of the greatest MCs of all time. It's just me being objective and just looking at things for what they are. I don't understand where all of this peer hate for Drake comes from, man. I mean, at
Okay,
some
so
point we got to leave it alone, man. Like,
Mike,
because you know what's happening right now, Coop? The nigga that everybody puts on the pedestal, Kendrick Lamar, he is scared shitless of Drake, and I would be remiss if I'm sitting here calling out Eminem for his inequities when it comes to battle, and not call out Kendrick for the same fucking thing. You wanted it with this guy. Now he wants it with you. Now it's nothing. And now everybody running around like this guy ain't battle tested or this guy ain't this and that. He's going at the guy y'all say is the best MC in the game.
I mean, Mike, just personally, when I hear him talk, Common is an excellent public speaker. His thoughts seem jumbled. His words seem hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, he didn't know which way he wanted to go.
Yep.
And which way he wanted to turn when he got asked that question. He was totally unprepared to answer that question.
Yep.
But that's how it be for these dudes. That's what I keep on trying to express to people.
He was trying to play the middle, but also he was trying to reword what most said and make it a little bit more eloquent. Yeah.
He was trying to make it politically correct.
Yeah, and he
failed miserably. And all he did was come off as hesitant and jumbled and not thought-provoking at all, not insightful at all. Answer to the question was whack as fuck.
Like you said, he was a politician on it. He said a bunch of nothing. He was talking for a whole minute and literally said nothing.
Said not a damn thing, Mike.
The truth of the matter is,
unreliable.
No, Drake doesn't just come from hip-hop. He's an MC. What makes him not an MC? What makes, like you said, that whole pretentious notion that what we do is MCing, but what other people do is something else. What makes what he's doing on some rap shit, what makes what you do more hip-hop than what he does? And explain that to the youth.
Because Common's biggest single comes from a Stevie Wonder sample.
Yeah. Hip-hop comes from everything. Everything outside of hip-hop comes from. So what are we talking about?
Right. Didn't you do Come Close with Mary J. Blige? Is that not like more of a pop record, or is that not like what is that? You made Electric Circus, nigga. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. I don't even want to go Electric Circus, because when you said that, my mind went to Universal Mind Control. You made
song
that.
Is terrible.
You made that.
Terrible.
Trying to actually make world type music.
Yassine's biggest record is Umi Says. You're not even rapping.
No bars.
You're not even rapping on there. There's no bars on there. What are you dudes doing? You don't know what you're doing. That's what I keep on saying. Mike, this is the point that I keep on making. They have so many people that follow them in their core quote unquote hip hop aesthetics, and they don't even know what they're talking about or what they're really doing.
It's that elite mindset where it's like we're hip hop and everybody else.
What is it, Mike? What you call it? What do you call it, Mike? They're the boule of hip hop, Mike. That's
what they are. They are the hip hop boule for sure.
It's like, man, it's like real talk. It's like go make Master some lemonade and shut the fuck up. How about that?
So because we got incense over here and we got, no, I don't want to go there. That makes you more hip hop than this person.
Like, here's the thing, Mike. Sometimes what happens in the process of these guys being quote unquote woke, they get lost. It's like, I'm woke too. I'm just not lost. Like, I haven't forgot any of the sensibilities that made me like in this culture, in terms of hip hop or as a black man. And it's like these guys seem to forget that.
Well, this is my thing. And I see somebody in the chat saying that they like Electric Circus, and I actually like Electric Circus too. I remember Electric Circus. The album cover was an ode to the Beatles album cover. It was also showing respect to Jimi Hendrix throughout the album. So everything about Electric Circus was supposed to be anything but hip hop. So does that make you pop because you try to achieve those things on Electric Circus? No.
They just be trying to make it
not on some hip hop shit.
I told you, Mike. Yassine's the dude getting the model's number from the Change Clothes video. Common
You're never
is the
gonna
guy.
let me live that down.
Nope, because that's who he is with his NBA young boy enumerated kid having ass. He like women. And he be trying to low key play it like he don't. It's like, oh no, you like a bunch of women just like the rest of us do. All right, you're not special. This is common the same way. What's the word? What Kanye say on the Glory? I'm on a world tour with Common, my man. After each and every show, a couple dykes in the van. Yeah, that's who you are too.
They
You be
didn't
trying to
like.
act like that part of you. They be trying to act like that other part and that other side of them don't exist. And like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. At least I'm honest about the sides of me that exist. Unlike you niggas. That's why I don't like you niggas personally. Music
Michael Williams
wise,
with the super chat
all the
says,
flowers.
which pairing of songs is more impressive? Friend or Foe and Friend or Foe 98 or 22 twos and 44 fours? Give me the 22 twos and 44 fours just because of how outstanding I think 44 fours is.
I find Friend or Foe and Friend or Foe 98 to be more groundbreaking, so I'm going to go the other way.
I didn't love
I
Friend
knew
or
you
Foe.
were going to do that. You were going to pick the rappity rap stuff, and I was going to pick the street stuff. I knew that was going to happen.
Jadarian with the super chat says, he literally said he's not sacrilegious to critique someone who's a pop star. What did he do? What he did recent? He spoke about how people perceive what he said. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, you read W.E.B. Du Bois and you talk about literary devices. You are the conscious woke rapper. LOL. Cut it out.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm woke, but I'm not lost. Like, I'm very much intelligent and highly articulate and want certain things for our community, Mike. But I've also dated a bunch of strippers too, Mike. I've also been in trouble with the law a bunch. Like, there's some balance over here. There's two sides to me.
It's
like, no, we can talk it out, but we can squab it out too. If you don't want to talk, nigga.
Mad Max with the super chat says, let me correct my Nicki husband thing. I Googled him when you was playing the most weak apology. So he was 16, but allegedly forced himself on a girl at knife point. So he ain't no defense for him. Ain't no defense for him. Okay. Thanks for retracting.
He forced himself on a woman at knife point.
Web Visibility with the super chat says, don't forget Drake's verse on Stay Scheming, where I think he went at Common. Don't think it. He did. And you know what? Drake tried to tell us back then, and Drake was in the game and saw this stuff up close and in person. He was a fan of these guys, and then he met these guys and had interpersonal relationships and saw how they moved. When he said, it bothers me when the gods get to acting like the broads. It's like, damn. What else can you say? Mad Max with the super chat says, had to correct myself because I confused him for someone else. Gotta apologize to the victim. My bad. Gotta research better. It's all good, Mad Max. We all mess up.
Yeah, it's okay. You took time to do some self-correction, which is something these woke-ass rappers don't be doing unless they're forced to. You see how you did it at your own volition, and you weren't forced into a corner like these niggas? Keep going, Mike.
Humble Bragger with the super chat says, Drake is a great artist, great rapper, negative. He's still buying reference tracks to this day. So what does that say? Word for word, taking songs. Word for word, taking songs. I will say this. I'm not trying to be funny or not trying to take up for Drake. I think a lot of people will be very surprised with how many artists do similar things, if not the same thing. You might be heartbroken to a certain extent. But yeah, there's a lot of help going on.
Like, how about this, Mike? This is what I'm saying. Like, just here in Atlanta, I've watched quote unquote trap rapper Jeezy do more community work than almost every rapper or R&B artist in the city, and all of them have more quote unquote sterling outside the street reputations than he does. He does more community work than all these people. Who's really the bad guy?
Now, Max with the super chat says, Drake, the easy target. He's light skinned. They're supposed to be soft. Even though I know far more fair skinned cats that's tougher than dark skinned.
First of all, Mad Max, while we're there right quick, Mike, I just want to say to Ish and Joe Budden, we look up to you guys. We model behavior after you guys. You niggas can't be out here looking like Al B. Sure and El DeBarge fighting over Nicky Williams in 1987. Looks terrible. You got to cut that out. Mike, it was more light on light crime on the Budden podcast. It was more light on light crime. These guys have got to stop. It's like, what the fuck is this? Mike, is this Shalimar fighting and breaking up or some shit? Like, the fuck is going on? Is this Howard Hewitt? Like, what's going on?
And I got love
Like,
for
what are we
Button, man.
doing?
Joe Button is a pioneer in this space, man. We wouldn't even be here to this degree if not for some of the ground that he broke. So, but
Hurt
yeah,
my feelings.
they
I'm
got
like,
to get that right.
y'all are
Got
on
to
the
get
air
that.
arguing. I was like, you niggas are on air arguing about a female that you hit and that you kissed. It's like, is that what y'all are doing? It's light on light crime, Mike. I won't tolerate it. I was like, these niggas look like Al B. Shore and El DeBarge out here, killing her softly. The fuck is this?
The
So
one,
disappointed.
the
Keep
one
going.
chosen with the super chat says, "Hate him or love him, Drake will ruin a lot of rappers' relevancy. And if we being real, the only rapper from his generation that can hang in a verses is Big Sean. Man, I love the Big Sean love that's going on here on this show, but yeah, it's gonna be tough for any of the rappers in his generation to see him in the verses.
It's time to do some album reviews and get
All
out of
right,
here,
yeah,
Mike.
because we got to get out of here in a second.
All this light on
We
light
want to talk
crime. Man.
about
So mad.
which way? Where do you want to go first? You want to go Master Ace?
I want to go Che first because
Let's
hers
go check.
is the shortest.
Man, I
What
think
did you
Che's
think?
phenomenal. As I think this, and I was thinking this while I was riding to it. I don't know if it's going to be fair for us to actually give this one the rating that we're giving other projects because it's 4 songs. Because many of the categories, it's going to be easier for 4 songs to actually excel in.
I was thinking that too. So here was my thought process, Mike. I believe these are going to be released in volumes. I believe this is just volume 1.
Okay.
And so I believe when all the volumes are done, we should tally them up as a total whole. Like if she's doing like 3 or 4 of these joints and ends up being like 12, 15 songs, then we should tally it up and give it a full rating.
But
But
this is what
I
I will
will
say.
say,
She's one of the best MCs in the game. Point blank, period.
Mike, get out my head because I was going to preface it by saying, if you've really been paying attention, Mike, since she dropped Food for Thought, in my opinion, which has been a couple of years now since she dropped Food for Thought. Since Food for Thought, Mike, she's been one of the best MCs in the game.
Straight up.
Like, period. Her bar work is stellar. Her concepts are stellar. Her expression and honesty is very Lauryn Hill, Tupac, Chuck D, and Nas like in terms of how honest she is with what she's feeling and thinking and the things that she sees on the mic.
You know
It
who
has
I
an
said she
honesty to
reminds
it.
me of? She reminds me of Beanie Siegel, man. Prime Beanie Siegel. High
Ooh,
praise.
I mean, Mike, that's very high praise. Yes, I'd put Siegel in that category too. Scarface, like those artists that just like, well, they're real and they're real not because they're quote up shoot 'em up bang bang real, but because the things that they talk about are real.
You
They talk
feel
about
them.
real life things.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? And her approach, it's effortless too. Like she's one of those people that you could tell she's constantly rhyming. Like she's built for this. It's like talking for her. You know what I'm saying? Like she's
I agree, Mike. She's special. I hope she gets all the notoriety and acclaim that she deserves because she deserves it because she is one of hip hop's best MCs. And it's not even a question, Mike. When I say that with ease and without question. She's one of hip hop's best MCs easily. And I love the Beanie Siegel analysis.
Well, people are saying I need to chill on that, but I mean, I'm not saying she is Beanie Siegel or anything like that. I'm just saying like she has a lot of those attributes. I think a lot of the times when we compare some of our women counterpart MCs to some of our male counterpart MCs, people think it's impossible. Like I thought about this today. I was talking to Ron. He was telling me that he was talking about the J-Lo record that Lotto's on. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. I've been listening to so much music. He said it's dope. I think Hit Boy did that too. And he was like, I like Lotto. And I was like, I like Lotto too. And I
like
thought
Lotto
about
too.
our conversation with Rap Roundtable when they asked, you know, who's the king of Atlanta and this and that, and people saying 21 Savage. And I'm like, well, Lotto made a better album than 21 Savage did. And I think a lot of the times, and I mean, one could say that Lotto's a better rapper than 21 as well, but I think a lot of the times when we have women counterparts, we don't even consider them to that level. So, and that's unfair.
Mike, I need to read the super chat by Jadarian that we forgot before it disappeared.
Okay, go ahead.
Jadarian with the super chat. He literally said it's not sacrilegious to critique someone who's a pop star. It disappeared on me right when I was reading it. Sorry,
I thought
Jadarian.
I read that. Hold on, I got it. Let me see. I think I saw that one. Jadarian said, Yeah, he said he literally said it's not sacrilegious to critique someone who's a pop star. What he did recent? He spoke
Recant.
about how people perceive what he said.
I think he means what did he recant?
Oh, he said, I'm sorry, recent. Yeah, he said, what did he
Okay, you
recant?
did read that. You did read that. Miss LB, we didn't miss Jadarion's super
Yeah,
chat.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Mike.
Okay, hold. So what did he recant? He apologized. He apologized. He said he reached out to Drake and this and that. Like, why was that even necessary?
Definitely had Anita Baker vibes, Mike. I apologize.
He went out there. He said a bunch of. This is what he did, Jadarion. He went out there and said a bunch of stuff that he could have said in that interview. He could have said he was a dope MC in that interview. He could have said that he's talented in that interview. Stuff that he didn't have to wait weeks after he got pressure to do so, or just say he's the MC.
Or he could have just called him himself without him knowing and taking care of all of this and been a man about it, and we would never know. He could have done that too.
Well, according to him, Drake's not answering his DMs or calls, and
I wouldn't answer the nigga either.
And he has to work through Dave Chappelle or something. I don't know.
It's getting wild, Mike. I want to talk about the Boldy first because I think we should go ahead, hit the super chat.
Yeah, we got a super chat very quick from King. He says, "Can you check out the name tag Alexander Music? He's underground and the best out of Detroit, and one of the greatest rappers. Definitely go check him out." Mad Max to the super chat says,
"Send us a link. Send us a link."
Yeah, send us a link. He said, "Big Sean got some sneaky joints, but hanging with what is it, Ubs? Nah, Drake's waxing Kanye and Wayne in the verses, right? Just their discography, not production."
No.
Listen, I'm not mad at him.
No, I don't know that.
I disagree, but
I don't know that.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting, but I don't know that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want to go to Boldy, or you want to finish talking Shay? I mean, I think that we're going to have to wait for the other volumes to come out. I'm just really impressed with Shay and her approach and her skill set and how she continues to get better. Like you said, you feel her music. And when I compare her to Beanie Siegel, that's where that's coming from. Like, she makes that music you can feel. If I didn't know any better and I dropped in from outer space, I would think she's from Philly. She gives me the vibe that Philly MCs give me, even the vernacular to a certain extent.
Top 10 MC of this era right now. It's like, since Food for Thought, to me, she's been a top 10 MC. I can't think of 10 MCs better than her. I can't.
I mean, right now, I hate to be like this, but we do this. We do comparative analysis. I think she's better than Rhapsody. I've
said that since Food for Thought, and I'm Carolina biased, but yeah.
Rhapsody need to give us some new music, man. We ain't got too much from Rhapsody recently.
That's part of why I would say Che is better too. It's like, well, what have we gotten from Rhapsody really on a regular basis since Eve, Mike? And Eve was a minute ago now.
That was 19.
That's been some years, Mike. That was 5 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Right. So we haven't really got Rhapsody that much to even make a comparative analysis to not give it to Che for one.
Yeah.
But when I think of Che, it's like only people that I know for certain that I would put ahead of her are probably Nas, Thought, Cole, Wayne.
This is high profile stuff.
Conway.
Yeah. You putting Benny over her?
Benny. Maybe. She's in some dope ass company, Mike. She's in some dope ass MC company that she deserves to be in. Let's get to the Boldy, Mike. What did you think of the Boldy? I thought it was Boldy's best album I think it's his best album since Bo Jackson, Mike.
Man, I liked it a lot, man. He got bars, man, and I think the vibe is incredible. I love the pairing with him and who produced it again?
Nicholas Craven.
Nicholas Craven, yes. I love that pairing. The whole vibe was on. It kind of gave me that. It just gave me a chill vibe, and he's spitting. He just sounds effortless on it, man. He got such a smooth voice, pause. You know what I mean? Smooth flow, and everything was there. Everything was connecting. I dug it.
I agree, Mike. First of all, you know how I feel about solo missions, Mike, and this was definitely that.
Yeah.
I felt like outside of his Alchemist projects that he's done in this era, this is the most impressive one that doesn't have Alchemist attached to it. Hold on one second. My daughter's texting me.
Okay, Mad Max with the super chat says Lotto is greater than 21 Savage rap wise? Question mark. She raps in his style. Also, what is that? Man, Leo just smoked her on a cipher. So did Flo Milli. Stop it. Well, I'm basing what I'm saying, Mad Max, on the album that Lotto delivered. I think Lotto's album is better than 21's album. I think she covered more. I think she had bigger songs on there. And I think if we're being fair and balanced about it, I think she did make a better album than 21 did. Now, if you want to go to bar for bar thing, I mean, I guess I feel you, but it's not like 21 is just some monster on the mic where that's just unheard of. But if we go into the tiebreaker and that being the album and the actual records, I'll give Lotto that nod, personally. Mad Max with the super chat says, set it up, Drake versus Ye, no production, or Drake versus Wayne. I'll pick the Drake records and show you. Miss LB with the super chat says, did y'all check out I Am God, Bloodstained Suite 2? Guy out of shots.
You want to know what?
I ain't heard that yet. So much music.
We gotta pull up on him. He DM'd me last year about his last project, and I was extremely late getting to him. And I think he felt some type of way because when I reached out, he didn't respond.
Okay, we got to get to it.
So I do want to give him some props. Rap Roundtable said his project was dope. Miss LB and a lot of our following on Twitter have been saying that we need to check for him.
Well,
we're going to give you a quicker checkup this time. I'm going to take responsibility for not checking up on you in time last time, fam. We got you this go around. Would love to have you come on according to hip hop if the project is everything what people are saying it is. Because I can't front. When I did listen to his last project, I was like, oh shit. I was like, I need to reach out to this nigga. I was like, I messed up.
And it ain't nothing shady or anything. We just, I understand.
It's not personal. Life be lifing sometimes too, God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna get to
lifing. But we need to pull up on him soon. So we need to listen to that project in the next couple of days and be ready to talk about it on Monday and reach out to him for real because he's doing really great work.
Let's do it. 007 with the super chat says Rock Nation said no new Jigga album. Too bad. Are we surprised?
I didn't even want to talk about it, Mike, because I knew it wasn't happening.
Exactly. You know what? It was posted on According to Hip Hop, but we never even made that a topic because, like you said, we knew it wasn't going to happen. MC with the super chat says Shay or Little Sims. I like Little Sims' album making ability, but just based on the consistency and my personal preference, I'm going to go Shay. I think both of them are dope, though.
They're very, very comparable. It's like one of those. It's like the person that goes to the gym and practices the most is the one I'm always going to give the nod to. That would be Shay.
Yeah. But yeah, no surprise here that we're not getting a Jay-Z album. I wish we were, but que sera, sera.
So the Boldy is his best project. I think A Price of Tea in China is better. I think Bo Jackson. I think Bo Jackson is better. And I feel like I'm missing another project that I think might be right there.
I think it's close to Bo Jackson, though, in my opinion.
Me too.
They're very close.
Like, if you told me, how about this? Like, I actually think he's a better MC on this album than he is on Super Tecmo Bo is the other one.
Super Tecmo Bo is crazy. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's the one. So I think Super Tecmo Bo and Price of Tea in China are his two best albums from this era. I think this is in running with Bo Jackson for the third best. But there's nothing like a little quick breakdown, Mike, to make it real. So what do you think about the production on the Boldy?
I'm going 8.
I am too. I thought about giving it an 8.5, actually. I thought Craven did an excellent job.
He did do an excellent job. Marco Polo, though, influenced
That's Mike. And that's why I would actually be cool with keeping it at an 8 is because I thought it was an 8.5 until I heard the Master Ace Marco Polo joint. All right. Lyrics, Mike. Boldy on a solo mission on this too, and we need to be mindful of that.
That might be an 8 as well.
I'm cool with the 8 on that as well. I was thinking that. Now, content, Mike. How about this? This was the album content-wise that people keep telling Benny to stop making it, and then he stopped making it, and y'all turned into a bunch of fucking haters. But whatever.
7.
That's cool.
Again, Master Ace influence again.
I like Boldy's dope boy talk, but it is
No, me
just
too.
strictly.
I'm
But
just
it's just
being
strictly. But
objective.
it's strictly. But it's strictly Kingpin talk, Mike.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The flow and delivery. Now, I'm one of those people. I'm a fan of Boldy's flow.
I'm going 9 on that.
Me too, Mike.
His
He
flow
sounds
and delivery is
phenomenal
on.
on here.
Yeah,
He sounds phenomenal on here.
yeah.
Impact.
This one kind of flew under the radar. It came out around other bigger projects. And I don't even really. Do you hear his audience even buzzing about it to this degree?
Not
So
like they
I'm
should be, Mike. This is his
thinking
best.
like
This
6.
is this is his best project in years, and even his core fan base, I don't think is talking about it like they should. So I would give it a 6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sequencing.
Now that's high. I think that's
That's a 9 to me.
yeah. I was gonna go 9 actually. Yeah,
I think the sequencing is a 9. But the Master Ace and the Boldy album are wonderfully sequenced, both
they
of them.
are. They are.
And you can tell. How about this? When I listened to both these albums, I was like, see how sequencing affects your album quality?
Yep.
Not just the songs, but where you place the songs.
It matters so much, man. Like I remember we used to get bootleg versions of shit, and the albums wouldn't be sequenced like the real albums were, and you get used to the actual sequencing of the bootleg, and then when you hear the real one, it either works better or way worse. It changes the album just knowing that certain records are being placed in certain places. It changes a lot.
What about the hooks?
I don't really remember a lot of the hooks on there, to be perfectly honest with you.
So can I tell you what? The most disappointing part of this album to me were the hooks, because I felt like Boldy was in a place 2 or 3 years ago where he had developed into a really dope hook writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his hooks are the weakest part of this project. So I would give that a 5, Mike.
I'm okay with that. And the fact that, hooks are supposed to be the most memorable part of songs a lot of the times, and I don't even remember any of the hooks, that's a problem. So
song structure.
That's tricky because the way that they put songs together is like, it's consistent. They just go at it. So I'm going to go with a 7 with that.
I was thinking 7.5. Are you cool with the 7.5?
I'm cool with 7.5. I'm fine with that because it's consistency. It's kind of like the flow and delivery section on this
like
one.
How about this? They accomplished their objectives for what they were trying to do with the songs. I just don't feel like it was accomplished at a high enough level, mostly because of the hooks, Mike. Because your hooks affect your song structure because it's part of the structure.
Matt Max says, y'all telling me his album was good? I fell asleep.
Mad Max, every time we talk about Boldy, you say you fell asleep. That's because you don't know shit about Boldy. You don't know shit about Boldy. You're going to stop hating on Boldy, too. I done told you that Boldy's dope. I'm tired of explaining this to you niggas. Boldy is nice.
All right, what's the other section?
That's it. We're done with that. I'm going to tally up while you talk about the Master Ace right quick. You can get started while I tally up the Boldy.
Go for it. I'm going to get to the super chat. The one chosen with the super chat says, listening to Biggie in 97, you would think that he was the best, but then you turn on Nas and you see the clear difference. I'm not going to let you say that. 97,
you don't. Not 97. The Firm came out in 97. No, you don't hear the clear difference in 97. What
right.
clear difference are you talking about?
That's not fair to say. 97 Big was something else, man. Now, if you want to compare 97 Big to 96 Nas, okay, I feel you. But, yeah.
Valid argument.
Yeah. 97 Big was something else. Okay. Master Ace, Marco Polo. Let me go ahead and get this track list up. I do want to put it on the screen. No, I ain't going to do that. That'd be showing favoritism. Richmond Hill. Coop hit me early and was like, look, you listen to the Boldy, you listen to the Master Ace, because I knew that we were going to be covering it today. I was like, I hadn't gotten around to the Boldy Ace, but I'm about to listen to it now. And he was like, you're going to like this Master Ace. And I did. The production, you know what? It reminds me of the album that Master Ace did in the early 2000s. You remember the album I'm talking about? A Long Hot Summer.
I just can't remember the name.
A Long Hot Summer. This is back when Coop and I were working at Dave and Buster's together. and I forgot his name, man. He was one of the guys who was working the projector in there, the Asian guy. What's his name, man?
Oh, the guy that used to do all my bootlegs. I know you're talking
Yes,
about
he's
Chan.
Chet.
Chan.
Yes, he used to do my bootlegs too. He's the first person to play Little Brother for me. And this was early. This is the listening. He had a bootleg of the listening too. But I remember going over to his spot and he was playing the listening. I was like, "Yo, Little Brother's dope." But anyway, he was like, "You gotta listen to this Master Ace, A Long Hot Summer." And I was like, "Yo, the production's there, the delivery's there, like the words are there." Like at that time, this is a super dope album. This is what this album reminded me of. Richmond Hill is super consistent, and Master Ace has. You want to talk about somebody who knows how to make an album, from the production, from the skits to the features, the subject matter, having a beginning, middle, and end, and being able to tell that story. Like it
So
made me start to think about like, yo, when it comes to if albums are the end all be all for us, like we always talk about on the show, Master Ace needs to get a lot more recognition on these lists for his ability to know how to not only just rhyme but make albums. I mean, the man made Sitting on Chrome back in the day too, so he can make radio shit too. Master Ace is very impressive on this, and Master Ace is not even. He's not even of, let's just say, the Nas generation. This guy's from the 80s, man. Like Master
he's the
Ace is
guy that
class of 88.
Mike. He's the guy that starts off the symphony. For those of you who don't know,
Exactly. He starts off the symphony. He's not a young guy. And I'm saying that from a respectful standpoint. Like, dude, you're making an album this great, this late, and been doing it over decades. We really got to start thinking about where we put Master Ace, on an all-time list. And those were some of my thoughts from this album. Very impressive. You guys talked it up. I'm gonna give that one to the fans, man. Y'all were the ones that told us we need to talk about that when we were talking about the Benny on last episode, and it's a dope album.
so here's what I love about it. Richmond Hill is in Queens, but close to the Brooklyn side, like where Queens and Brooklyn start merging over, but
Mm-hmm.
not too far away from JFK.
Yep.
And so I believe Richmond Hill is probably where Master Ace is from. Because when I saw Richmond Hill, I was like, that's familiar. I was like, I feel like I passed that when I went into JFK one time. I did. So I like how he's telling his story, but the skits are built around Marco Polo and where he's from, which is Canada. So it's a nice merge. It's one of those things. It's like content wise, thinking about your project, naming it Richmond Hill, but letting your producer get his rocks off on the skit by explaining the producer's comeuppance. Because Marco Polo's not from one of the boroughs of the tri-state area. He's from Canada, right?
Yep.
And so I love how the skits tell the story of who Marco Polo is. And I love how through the course of the album, Master Ace is explaining who he is and what kind of drives him from the perspective of him as an MC, has a rap guy, and has a man. I found this production on this album to be phenomenal. I do think it's the best production job of the year so far, Mike.
Dot with the super chat says Master Ace album is good. It does sound dated though. What are your
Thank you.
thoughts on that?
So, Mike, my biggest problem with this album, and this is what I mean. So when you have somebody like a Master Ace, class of 88 in the house, the way that Master Ace was taught to make an album early on in his career is different than today. It's 2024, Mike. We used to get more versatile albums from our artists because in their era that they were raised, that's how you put an album together. You gave people a little piece of everything. That's why I feel like some of the Benny stuff is unfair, because it's like y'all want him to make an album that, quite frankly, no other rapper from his era is making in 2024 except Freddie. Freddie's the only one that gives you like the diversified project from this era. And then you have to really say to yourself, and I've said this, no, I've been listening to Freddie since 2010. Freddie really not from this era either, Mike.
I want to play devil's advocate for a second, right?
But it does,
So,
Mike. It sounds dated in a good way and in a bad way, though. It's both of it.
let me play devil's advocate. So let's just say somebody comes in the league, or somebody gets on the court, right? And the way that people are playing basketball now, they're playing, from the 3-point line, right? What if we have a big man that comes in the game and has a really good game and is playing from the post and is playing at the rim and not playing outside of the rim? Jokic like, but see, Jokic shoots, so that might not be the best example. But let's just say Jokic was only in the interior. Are we going to say that, you know what, people don't play the game like that anymore? He didn't just put up 25. You know what I'm saying? I know this is very different because we're talking sonically, but how do we sparse the difference between a nostalgic throwback sound and just being outdated?
That's what I mean. That's why I'm saying some of it is dated in a good way, but in a bad way. It's like the boom. Like, how about this, Mike? The boom bap on here, the old school boom bap of it, is actually done extremely, extremely, extremely well. But some of the sounds are a little dated. Like, it's done well, but the sound wise, it's dated. It's not the style of beats that get made anymore on some of the records. And it's okay to kind of go back down memory lane, but we also do have to be mindful that it's 2024. This is still a young, youthful, and energetic type of genre of music. And so I could tell that this was a guy that came out in the 80s or 90s from the style of beats that Polo gave him, even though to quote Gangstar, updated the formula. But
Right.
some of it still does sound dated in terms of the sounds that he's using. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I don't think Master Ace made this album to try to get a 20-year-old to listen. Guess what? Benny may have done that, and it seems like people are knocking Benny for trying to get a 20-year-old to listen. It's like, no, he's from this era. That's what he's supposed to be doing. That's what rap artists do in every era when they're trying to expand their horizons. Master Ace isn't interested in expanding his horizon. He lets you know on the first song, Brooklyn Heights, Mike, which I think is a phenomenal record and a Song of the Year contender. He's letting you know, he's like, this ain't this ain't that. Like, he's letting you know this ain't the modern day shit that's going on that I'm doing, but it's still dope. And he's right. And so he did a masterful job, even though some of it sounds dated, of setting that tone of what it was going to be. And it made me appreciate the album more, Mike. It's a dope ass project. It's a great album, in my opinion.
One of the great things about hip hop is the fact that we do have a bunch of subgenres within the genre itself, or some would say culture. But I think what's happened now, we do have like an adult contemporary hip hop. We have a hip hop that's being made for people of a certain age by people of a certain age bracket, and trying to force a young listener who might not appreciate that, or like I see in the chat, who might think it's boring. They're not even attempting to do that. And I think for us as journalists in the space, we got to figure out how to be able to, I guess, critique that, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, the Source had a different job, but they had an easy job too, because everybody who's coming out with stuff in that era were doing things for that era. There weren't all of these different brackets of hip hop fans. Like, back then, your hip hop fan base was from probably like 12 years old to 30. That's it. But now the hip hop fan base is probably like from 10 to 60 now, you know?
The toughest people for the Source to probably rate were probably Dayline Tribe. We would kill for those problems now.
Right. And it was really evident when somebody like Run DMC tried to come back and try to do something updated or even do something old. And it was very evident and prevalent. But yeah.
So this album for me gave me shades of All the Brilliant Things by Sky Zoo. It's a wonderful album from a New York artist who's a high-level MC, diversified content. The beat selection is excellent, but it does have a certain era of boom bap hip hop feel to it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because much like Sky Zoo on All the Brilliant Things, on No Free Jewelry to start off All the Brilliant Things, when he starts off with Brooklyn Heights, no, he's setting the tone and the message of what the album's going to be. And so I can appreciate it. I just don't think an album like this is going to win Album of the Year in 2024, even if you think it's Album of the Year right now.
Okay,
that's not how
I can jive with that. I can jive with that because it being a representative of 2024, it's going to be hard for it to be that with a nostalgic sound, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
and And after a couple of listens, I've listened to it 2 full times and going on the third right now. I think it's better than all the brilliant things because I feel it's more palatable.
What if people would say, play devil's advocate here? What if somebody said, well, Magic had a nostalgic sound and they got album of the year for 2022? Or was that 2020? Yeah.
What, Magic won?
Magic won. 2020.
I mean, Mike, okay, Magic won. First of all, doesn't sound nostalgic for one. The nostalgic part about Magic, and this is what I keep trying to explain to people about why Hit Boy is so great. The only thing that's nostalgic about Magic 1 is the fact that this nigga's rapping like the guy that's on It Was Written.
Okay.
Which we didn't think was fathomable. That's the only nostalgic part of that album. Wave Gods with Rocky is not some boom bap from 96. The Truth, Speechless, and Meet Joe Black in 4016. No, Mike, that all sounds modern. Hollywood Gangsta sounds modern. Ugly sounds modern. None of those records sound like some shit from the Lost Tapes in 2001. So the sounds on there are upgraded. That's why I was giving Hit Boy his props, because that's when I realized how great he was. I'm like, I was like, it sounds like a beat Pete Rock should make today. It sounds like a beat Primo should make today. It sounds like a beat Large Professor and Q-Tip should make today. Not it sounds like a beat they made in 94, in 96, in 98. It sounds like something they should make today. So Magic isn't that. This is more of that, but it's still masterfully done. And I mean, I don't know if you notice, and Master Ace will tell you this too. Master Ace is great, but he's not Nas on the mic either. And so even when Nas goes into the nostalgia thing, like Blue Benz, like we were just talking about, like I went and listened to Blue Benz after we did the show with Adriel and Sean. Shout out to Hip Hop Talks. And I was like, oh no. This is nostalgic Nas on this beat, like nostalgic storytelling Nas, but that beat is new. That beat new.
I'm with you. I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to put that out there because I know people are going to say that. You ready to rate this? Sweet. Man, it's almost 10 o'clock, man. Yeah, let's get it out of here.
Production, Mike, I think it's a 9, maybe a 9.5.
Yep. 9. It's a 9.
Lyrics.
Shit, that's up there too. It's like an 8.5.
That's exactly what I have, Mike. I have it at an 8.5. Content. I think the content might be a 9, Mike.
That might be a 9 too. I think that's very strong on this album. I think that's what lyrics up.
Like when I got to the end and he did the plant-based song, just talking about his diet and the community and stuff. Insane. Like, how about this? It's hard to make a song like that without it coming off as preachy. Hold on. Lupe, Yasin, Talib, Common, do you hear me? He made this song about this community needing to eat better without it sounding preachy and without himself deifying himself and making it seem like he's better than everybody else. Take notes, niggas. Next,
I don't agree with you putting Lupe in that, but I feel you.
I do.
I know you do. Y'all need
flow and delivery, Mike. Flow and delivery. I don't think the flow and delivery is as good as the production, lyrics, and content because it's Master Ace, and he sounds fresh.
Good,
but it's not like it's an updated flow either. So I'm gonna give that an 8. 8.
I think that's generous. I go more 7.5 based on what you just said. You know,
I'm cool with 7.5
because it's kind of staying in your comfort zone, and I appreciate someone doing something that they're great at. But when we're rating it and rating it next to somebody else who might be taking chances, it might not be as high as it. You know, it might
Impact
be as high as an 8. Impact, huh? I think this was making a lot of noise, man.
It is, Mike, because it's a great hip-hop album in a traditional format, and I think that has a lot of quote-unquote hip-hop heads looking at it like, oh, yeah, that project. And so, although not modern in a lot of ways, I still think it deserves some 7.5 or 8. What you think?
I was going to say 7.5. That's where I was going to go.
I think it's 7.5, too. Sequencing is fucking brilliant, Mike.
That's 9. Might be a 9.5.
It is. I'm cool if you want to give the sequencing a 9.5, Mike. It's masterfully.
Let's go with that. Let's go with 9.5.
Because between how they did the skits and making the skits make sense and how it made sense in between the songs, I think giving this a 9.5 sets a template that's like, no, you want to know what a great sequenced album sounds like in 2024, even if the rapper came out in 88, sounds like this.
I agree.
Like if you want to critique Benny's album on any level, when I heard this album, I was like, and this is where the sequencing of Benny's album gets taken down a notch.
Skits and all.
9.5. skits and all. And the skits were meaningful and mattered. Hooks. I think the hooks might be the weakest part, Mike.
I'm going to go 7, the hooks.
Yep. Song structure.
I think song structure is pretty high. That's around an 8.5 or a 9 to me.
I think it's an 8.5. Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Okay. So just so we're clear, the Boldy got a 74. So
okay. Let me get to these super chats. Brian says, regarding grading albums with an older sound/style, could it just be as simple as grading impact very low? It could be high in quality music with no impact. I think that is fair. I think that if we want to talk about, the sonics and things like that, unless like what Coop just said, it actually bringing back the feel that massive hip hop fans have actually longed for. If it doesn't do that and it just stays in a nostalgic pocket, I could see that the impact being affected on the grading scale. I think that's fair. The one chosen with the super chat says, you could tell Hit Boy definitely gave his best beats to Nas. But yeah, in regards to that impact, especially with this one, I kind of say 7, 7.5, because people were telling us about this album. It was the people that were telling us we need to go listen to this album. So obviously it's having some level of an impact out there.
See, okay, Mike, so here's the thing. Impact, oftentimes, I look at impact in relationship of who you're trying to reach. In relationship of who he's trying to reach, I think he did a more than above average job of that.
I agree. He's not going to be on Good Morning America. I'm
about to say, this is not about to be a J. Cole impact when J. Cole dropped. It's like when J. Cole dropped, it's like impact 10.
Shit, Jay ain't even dropping. His impact is a 10. The album's not even coming out.
All right, Mike. So right now, it's our album of the year because it got 83%, Mike. So
boom.
Let's you got 66.5 out of 80. So let's look at it. The Master Ace got an 83. Boldy's got a 74. Benny's got an 80. Cuddy's got a 77. Game and Big Hit got a 79. And 21's got a 66. Those are our album. Those are our grades so far. This is our grade book.
I like it. It's shaping out to be something good. We're going to end January.
And we got grade books, Mike. And also, too, and I hope everybody understands this, we're grading tougher because we need to.
Yeah, we have to.
Ain't no more 4 and 4.5s. Only 2 niggas got B's this year so far. That's Benny and Master Ace. How about that?
Yeah, we're grading tough.
Yeah. We're going by grade point averages right now. Benny got a 3.0. Master Ace got a 3.3. Niggas need to step your fucking rap game up. I meant that shit when I said it last year.
It's only January.
I meant it when I said it last year.
I like these grades, man.
I told you, Mike, I felt something like people understand who I am. I'm fair. It's like, no, do I think Nas is the greatest MC of all time? I surely do. I think there's a margin being created right now between him and Jay. Do I think it's absolutely absurd in the same breath that arguably the best rapper in hip hop right now is 50 years old? I think that is egregious. We need to be harder on people.
I agree. And yeah, great idea with the rating system. I think this is going to set a precedent and it's going to make hip hop better. I think people are going to make better albums for it.
Oh yeah, Mike, we're doing hip hop honor roll this year. It's like, did you niggas make the honor roll? Did you niggas make the honor roll? It's like, no, you don't. That 2.8 don't get you on the honor roll, nigga. Make some honor roll shit.
Well, people have something to achieve for. And I think with all of these criteria, if people actually aim to get 9s and 10s there, we're going to get better albums. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And I love that hooks are in there because we need better hooks too, especially in this era.
I mean, hooks is what hurt Boldy. Boldy would have probably a score somewhere between Cuddy and Big Game and Hit, but the hooks just weren't there. But everything else about the project was dope. But at this point, it's like, no, we being hard on niggas. So that's what it is.
Here it is. All right, well, let's get up out of here, man. Great show. I had fun. You had your Most Def moment. I had my Eminem moment. So
we know you had fun, Mike. We know. We saw.
Hit like and subscribe, everybody. We appreciate y'all tuning in. And yeah, man, if we don't get a diss record by next show Monday, man, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think we will, though.
Yeah, he need to step up and make a record.
All right,
We need
y'all.
to
We're
make a
gonna holler
record.
at you.
This is hip hop. You can't just let somebody talk shit about you and not talk shit back. That's not how it goes.
This ain't pop music, man. Like, you
Nigga,
know,
this ain't
rappers
this
are
ain't
gonna
oh my
respond.
god. This ain't oh my god, I'm too big for this. It's like, no, Tupac took shots at everybody.
Yeah, man. This ain't Britney Spears, Mariah Carey, and Christina
Yeah.
Aguilera, man. You're gonna get responses, bro.
To quote Black Thought, Mike, hip hop is not pop like Kylie Minogue.
Shout out to Moby too, man.
You wild.